Greetings. 1 minute late this time. No sandwich, though. In fact, today, I was eating my meal prep. I was eating before this again. I actually don't look too sweaty. I was out getting some exercise. You know how your boy does it. Getting the blood flowing before the old stream. And then came inside. I was like, damn, I'm hungry. Ate. Here we are. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Isabella. I saw you talking pre-stream that this is your first one here, so just wanted to welcome you. Appreciate you engaging in a positive way, but also being excited to be here. It's cool. I always find it like, and I don't mean this offensively when I say strange, but I always find it like strange. I'm like, wow, people like look forward to this, or like they're, damn, I missed it. Like I want to be there live, so that's cool. But good to see you all. Zerification, good to see you. Uncharted Wolf, as always, welcome, my friend. Yodeling Llama, happy to see you. Plasma Snake, welcome. Good to see everyone here for a nice mixture of news stories. We actually have like a thin pile of news today because we stacked up so much last stream. There's some stuff that's happened this week for sure, but like, for example, the EA stuff with Battlefield, and then what's going on between Marathon and Slay the Spire 2, I think is a broader conversation that I want to do on the Mr. Matty channel. So I was like, I kind of want to cut that out of the streams. So what I want to talk about, and then all of a sudden Fallout 3 leaks again. And Xbox had some interesting statements that I wanted to dive into today. And so that kind of left us with some stuff to talk about. And this is mainly going to be just a talky stream. Like if y'all got questions, this is the stream for it because we're mainly going to be sitting here hanging out and chatting. So thank you for being here and welcome all. Nurse Mayo, hello. Dave Wonder, welcome back. Good to see my prototype brother in arm here. Falco, what's going on? Falco, no juice today. Ice water. Just got in from a nice little exercise sesh. And by that, I mean like I walked around my neighborhood for like an hour and change. And so it's really hot out, which I've been loving, by the way. It was freezing cold. So I've been just basking in the heat and in the sun. That used to be very against Matty protocol, but this winter radicalized me something fierce against that cold weather. I was like, I hate snow. I suddenly get why people like, you know, growing up in New York, everyone always moved down south. I'm like, why? Who cares? But oh man, once snow becomes work and it starts to debilitate you and you get seasonal depression, yeah, dude, I get it. I want to move south. But the New York and just the Northeast weather in general lately is that moment where you go, this is why I live here. This is why I want to be here. This is pretty good. Unfortunately, though, Billy, I see you writing about pumping the iron. Not pumping the iron yet, but getting there. Right now, I'm just focused on cardio. I just want to make sure I'm moving. Got to get the heart beating. No carrot or orange in his ice water is crazy. It's just pure ice, Diamond. It's just pure ice. And hey, a good walk can be very effective. So good for the mental, especially. Good to just, I call it declutter the brain. Can't wait for spring. This weather is a tease. Yeah, we're going to get like, I have a friend who lives in Buffalo and he was like, it's 70 today, but it's going to be snowing in 5 days. I'm like, dude, screw that. That would just like, that would kill my soul. Just really, really take the wind out of my sails, you know? But it's good to see everyone. Happy, what is today? Tuesday? Games industry is really heating up, dude. There's just a lot of games coming out right now. It's that fun sort of like, we've had a good start to the year. Like, the only epic failure was like the one that we all saw coming, which was High Guard. Otherwise, like we're seeing like pretty good content across the board. So right now, this March has been excellent. I'm currently, for those who are curious, working on the platinum for Requiem. I finished my third playthrough a couple nights ago. It was the speedrun playthrough, but in that speedrun, I also did no heals, no blood collector. So I got those 3 trophies at once. And now my next task I'm going to be working on is the insanity mode playthrough. I got to get a couple others. Like I got to get the trophy where you like cut off a certain enemy's body part. I have to get one where I have one zombie attack another in the hospital at the beginning of the game, which I don't know how I haven't got yet, but I have to do that as well. So there's just a couple, but I just got to beat the game again, basically, and I have the platinum. And this will be my first Resident Evil platinum, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm excited for the DLC. Like, I'm all in, dude. You know, going to play that DLC, and then whenever there's that Code Veronica remake announcement, I'm going to start organizing my plans to go through a lot of the spin-offs for Resident Evil. So that'll be fun. But Requiem's definitely up there. It's probably going to be in my top 5 by the end of the year. Really good game. Oh, we have a super chat. Ice Cap Lord says it's like 16 degrees in Toronto right now, and I can't enjoy it knowing it'll drop to -1 in a few days. Yeah, I mean, I feel your pain, dude. But like at the same time, you take what you can get. Like if it's nice out, like just embrace it. Embrace it, dude. If you're like me and you just start to hate the cold, like just take it for what it is. Just even if it's temporary, you know. But I'm basing plans around it. Like for example, I want to go to a Mets game. My friends and I are going to a WWE show, so I'm like building events. Like I'm manifesting the weather will be great. So there's also that. But I'm sorry that you're dealing with the temporary warmth into cold. So best of luck, my friend. Thank you for super chatting as always. Explosion. I've never watched the Resident Evil movies. That is one that I was talking to a friend about it because he was like, "Have you ever watched them?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, isn't there like 2? He's like, "Oh my god, there's like so many." There's like animated movies. I think they did a limited run anime or something like that. Like there's a lot of watchable Resident Evil content. I'm just like, holy shit, dude. I didn't know that. I've just like I call myself the mainline meathead. Like it's got a number next to it. That's what I was for Assassin's Creed. Cause I was talking to a buddy the other night, or actually, no, sorry, it was today. And I was just, we were talking about, cause I just put a retrospective up on Retro Rebound for Unity, which is an Assassin's Creed game I've played a shit ton of. And we were talking about all our favorite Assassin's Creed games. And he's like, we didn't know how good we had it. I'm like, yeah, I agree to an extent. Like the series fatigue really hurt that franchise. And then we were going through some of our favorites. And when he talked about Revelations and Brotherhood, I was like, these are games I've never finished. And he's like, damn, dude, like that's crazy. And I said I was a mainline meathead. Like I was just like straight up. It doesn't have a number next to it. When I was a teenager, I was like, whatever, I'm not playing it. Stupid. Yodeling, I am going to be doing some traveling this year. Yeah, that is the plan. Wife and I are sealing some plans here. If all goes according to plan here, I will be traveling 4 times this year. 2 for personal. One's kind of like a mixture of personal vacation and work. But yeah, like I'm pumped. Like I said at the start of this year, thank you guys for the super chats. This is awesome. Like I said at the start of this year, like I really want to get off my ass. I'm not on my ass. I'm always working, but that's what I mean by getting off my ass. Is like I need to get up and start just like seeing the world more. I'm 30 and I haven't gone beyond the United States outside of Edmonton. No offense to anyone who's an Edmontonian. I say this as an Oilers fan of like 10 plus years. I love Edmonton. But that really wasn't like a global shakeup for me. Like I haven't seen much of the world. And it's like, dude, you've lived so much life and a lot of it's been through a screen. And that's great, but like go see the world. So I want to do some of that this year, starting this year, like really seeing more of it. I've always based it around my work, which is fine, you know, because sometimes that does bring you to interesting pockets of the world. But yeah, it's like, it's something that I owe to myself at this point. And so I want to balance it kind of well with my work and stuff. And I think it'll benefit my work, but yeah, it's something I need to do more of. So thank you for asking, Yodeling. Utah is not on the list yet, but hey, one of these days, right? Maybe hit all the states. We got a few super chats here, though. A lot, actually. Again, thank you, guys. Dave Wonder, what's up, Maddie? Weather down here in Virginia is great. Any prototype news? Just kidding. Keep being you, my friend. You're awesome. Enjoying the Maddie Slot vids. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you. Thank you for your impact on the streams. It was really awesome to see how hyped you were for the prototype news and just kind of how you've made yourself very memorable here, dude. So it's just awesome to have you around. Thank you for supporting like this. Dr. Strange Love says, really hope Fallout 3 Remaster keeps the green filter. It adds so much to the sickly nature of the Capital Wasteland. That's a good question, right? Because there's a conversation to be had around Oblivion. Like, I have a friend who doesn't like the art style of Oblivion's remaster and thinks they stripped it. I think they did a pretty good job, all things considered. Like, I don't think they really ruined anything there. It does look like a higher resolution version of Oblivion, but some of the lower polygon stuff I think added to the charm of a of like original Oblivion. I think when you up-resed everything and added more detail to everything, it just looks like a vibrant fantasy world, which I understand is a little less exciting to people. But I do worry with like how Fallout 4 is very colorful if they're going to bring, because Fallout 4 being colorful works because it's a game about rebuilding the wasteland. It's a game about hope. That's fine. I like that. I worry that Fallout 3, they'll do what you're talking about here. So I'm in agreement. I hope they keep it. We'll talk about Fallout 3 Remaster pretty extensively in a little bit here. My neighborhood in North Carolina was full of people from Long Island. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people in North Carolina are getting sick of us from the Northeast moving down south to there. But it's like North Carolina's perfect, dude. It really is. Keep the slop coming. I'm on it. We got more. We got a video coming out right now every day this week. We're actually going to try something new. I don't know if Quail is in chat. He is. He super chatted. Quail wrote in at last stream about, hey, do you record these videos while you're streaming them? And I'm like, no, why would I do that? And then you guys who are watching saw live on stream. I was like, that's a great idea. So I reached out to Emmett, who helps manage this Matty Slop channel. I was like, what if I just recorded and uploaded these to you on a drive while I'm doing the stream? Because the biggest barrier to our success on Matty Slop, you might have noticed it a little bit, is like our production time and turnaround isn't quick enough. Like sometimes, like we're supposed to be quick on the news. Like that's the point of that channel, among other things. And when it's running through me, like when we had to do Blue Point or the Fallout 4 Switch 2 thing, like it runs quick because it's running straight through my computer, which renders a 10-minute, 15-minute video in like that amount of minutes too. And then the upload time, because I have good internet, is like really quick, where Evan has a different situation. So I'm trying to think of ways to work into his production cycle. And like, that was a great suggestion. So the slop will keep coming, and I think it'll be more timely now. So thank you, Nerfed. Code Veronica is kind of rough, but it sets up RE5. And that's why I'm excited. It's that last part. I've heard that it sets up RE5, and I love RE5. So I'm excited to get into that. But apparently that's why a lot of people want it to be remade. You know? Erebus, we'll actually be talking about the next Xbox rumors. We've got that on the docket. And Francisco says go to Japan, Matty. That is on the list, but Europe is probably going to be first. Shout out to Europe. I don't know, man. I think a lot of people romanticize Japan, and I'm certainly guilty of that. And I haven't even been there. I just look at like the way of life and everything. I'm like, dude, get me there now. But I also have just like kind of fallen in love with like my wife and I were going to try to go to Europe last year around Gamescom, and it just didn't work out. It was just too last minute. So we're locking it in earlier this year. And like the train system just taking you to all these different countries. I'm like, dude, this sounds incredible. This sounds too good to be true. So I think that's going to be the moment that just like changes my life. And I want to see that first before Japan, to be honest with you. Do you have a bucket list of ballparks you want to visit? Honestly, I never sat down and really thought of that. I think I want to see Wrigley. Fenway would also be one. Yeah, that's a good question. I think I kind of want to sit down and make a list like that. That would be awesome. I like this, man. Thank you for playing it. Quail knows how to like suggest things in just the right way. Just like, yo, hey, do you produce the videos this way? Yo, do you ever think about a ballpark bucket list? Like this dude gets it. Brad says, I've done London a couple of times. It was fantastic. I will say I know that everyone I know that's been to Japan has loved it, so I concur with the earlier comment. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, will Japan just ruin everything else for me? I don't know. Do I really want to be another guy from the West who's, like, dreaming of moving to the East? Well, is that my fate? Is it sealed? Yeah, honestly, Boston is another place in the States I would live. I mean, but Boston is, dude... My wife and I have these moments where we like just dream about moving somewhere together. And so Boston, we love. It's like our favorite city. I adore Boston, dude. It's so, I'm not a city guy, but I would, especially on the Brookline. Oh my God. It's so nice. I love Boston. It's the main reason I love going to PAX is I love Boston. So Fenway, the fact that I haven't been there is crazy, but also like it's so expensive there. Like I want to live there, but it's so like even in an apartment that's like very small, it's like, oh my God, you're killing me. Let me get through a couple of these super chats as well. Thank you guys. Joshua Work says, PlayStation pulling away from PC market won't move anyone to buy their console. Bummer. I will not be able to play Ghost of Yotei, but I have 100 games I want to play that I haven't gotten to yet. Yeah, this is a totally fair point. This is what I mentioned about them fortifying their console more for profit margins than to grow their base. Because I think they understand that PC players will do exactly this. You see it every couple of streams. Someone will show up, super chat, and be like, "Yo, Matty, have you checked out this game, and I'm like, I've never even heard of this game, and I do this for a living, and I find out that this one game, like Esoteric Ebb, released on Steam, looks like a Disco Elysium style game, looks fantastic. It's like I'll go play that instead. I don't got to wait for PlayStation. There's great content around every corner. And I think PlayStation underestimated the PC marketplace. So yeah, I don't think it's going to result in a ton more console sales, but I do think it'll create value around it. And for people who have that extra money, who like to be in on, like, I've always been a kid who, like, even when I was like, I've been lucky and blessed to be able to get these consoles like more closer to day one. Really starting with this past generation with the Series and PS5, like I saved for it, I was ready for it. But before that, like I would spread it out. Like I got my Xbox One at launch, and I didn't get my PS4 until 2014, which was like the closest margin I ever had at that point in my life. Before that, it was like much wider, but I always wanted to be in on all the games because that's all I care about. I just want to play great games. And I think for a lot of people, like this move for PlayStation will bring people into the ecosystem still. But I definitely get what you're saying here about just how like the PC market is going to move a lot of people, but I think it will move some. And it'll again create that value around their console that they need to maintain. They can't flirt with it the way that Xbox did. Even if it backfires on them, I think it's the smartest choice they can make. JT Harden says, I just started RE2 for the first time. I find Claire's segment to be a slog so far. Should I power through or skip to Leon? Power through. These are short games, dude. But also, I think Claire's section is better. That's my hot take. Like, her story is better. Leon's just cool as hell, dude. Like that's the main thing Leon's got going for him. It's like some serious cool factor. But yeah, it's interesting because like they run through the same areas too. Corey, good to see you, man. Happy to have you here. But yeah, Harden, I would say push through. Once you get a more complete look at what RE2 Remake is and like how you go through these same areas with different characters and like your knowledge of the area grows, I think you'll have more fun. But there's no sense in skipping the Leon. These games are too short. And again, I think Claire's story is good. And you might feel that way after you go to Leon's, where like his story is good too, but it's just like there are things that happen that make no sense until you experience Claire's. I noticed MGS4's remaster removed a lot of that 7th gen piss filter as well. I actually thought it added a live grit to areas like the Middle East. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. The term piss filter is interesting because it is kind of accurate. I always called it just the brown filter, but that works too. The piss filter, we'll call it that. Yeah, a lot of people complained about this, and I feel like this is where you might see some developers like overextending by responding to those filter complaints. Like during this generation, there were a lot of games like Gears of War iconically is known for that. And not in a negative way, but like a lot of games had that like brown, yellow, dark green, kind of muddy green look to it. But I don't know. I kind of like it. Nowadays, everything is very colorful. So I do like that there's a little bit of grit in those older games. And it started to bother me toward the end of the generation because I'd get games like BioShock Infinite and go, oh my God, dude, it's so beautiful. It's so bright. And so I'd want more color. So I think we just need a balance. But I agree that this type of grit worked well, and it worked in favor of the art direction. Use chat news as a guideline for the rec/stream. There we go. Another suggestion from Quail. This dude's always helping out. Appreciate you, bro. I can't believe they stopped Oblivion updates. I played on the Pro, and it still runs like PS3 New Vegas. That's a little... I just played PS3 New Vegas. That's a little extreme. I get what you're saying, though. I am a little surprised. My only hope, is, as we'll talk about with Fallout 3 Remaster in a little bit here, like I said, we're going to be chatting a lot this stream, so it's not like I'm really rushing to the news today because we only have a couple of stories, and I just want to hang with you guys today. But when we talk Fallout 3, like... Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be our only hope is that they moved on really quickly to get Fallout 3 out. But I agree that the Oblivion updates could have been tuned a little bit more. I think it just needed like one or two more. It's like, this is me ballparking. Like, this is me armchair game deving. Like, I don't know, one or two more. But I felt like some fine tuning was needed is more what I'm arguing for. Oh, and Quail again, man. Bleeding Cubby Blue. He says, Wrigley Field is a must. We love the Cubbies. Come on now. I mean, I didn't like the Cubbies during 2015. It was great beating them as, New York Mets fan. But, I digress. I'm a baseball fan first and foremost, but I love my Mets. Meant to ask you, have you played Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay on the OG Xbox? Best movie game adaptation ever. Definitely check it out. Yeah, is this the one that people... Did Machine Games make this one? Hold on. Did Machine Games develop Chronicles of Riddick? I want to see if I'm remembering this correctly. No, they didn't. It was Starbreeze Studios. Who the hell am I thinking of? What games did One of the developers that worked on Darkness and Chronicles of Riddick joined Machine Games as the design director. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Interesting, though. Yeah, I definitely want to check this one out. Do I have this in my... I don't. I have a Chronicles of Riddick game on my PS3, I want to say. Hey, now, live in La Vida Loca. I did not pick the wrong New York team. I grew up as a Yankees fan. And then because I was indoctrinated at a young age, I did not know until later in my life. I was like, I like the Mets a lot more. I watched them a lot more. I went to their games a lot more. I enjoyed their... I shouldn't say I enjoyed their rosters more. I think I just enjoyed the... I grew up in a winning-only franchise. I was like, I need to know some struggle. I need to know what that's like. And so I picked the Mets. And, I mean, I didn't really feel like I was stepping into a struggle because they had incredible pitching, and I knew from there your boy would be riding fine. No problems at all. Sorry, I'm just grabbing all my links for one of our stories here. And then they made a World Series run. So, like, I wasn't too crazy. So I didn't pick the wrong New York team, just to be clear here. Let's not get out of pocket now. Voltage, we'll be talking Fallout 3 news in a little bit here. Don't you worry. I am not a New Jersey Devil fan. In fact, Super Wing, I hate the Devils. That's like one of the few teams I'm like, I hate the Devils. Hollow Shotgun asked me, do you think that Crimson Desert will live up to the hype? I have not talked to any reviewers at all. So, by the way, when I say all this, I have no knowledge of how they feel about the game so far. I think this is a tougher question to answer because as we learn more, I do think the game will end up being like, if it's at a 5% divisive rating, I think that might double by the time the game comes out. So it might be 10% of people are of the 100% player base, 10% of them might be loudly talking about some issues with the game. Pardon me. Those issues are predominantly based around story, potential lack of dungeons based on speculation, and if the overworld fights, particularly the boss fights, make up for that, activity repetition, puzzle depth. This is a game that shows really well because it's very systems driven. And so you get to show like is it as wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle? Or like, is it also as deep as an ocean? Like, you know, that's the question it's got to answer. And why saying it's going to live up to the hype or not. Like, it definitely reminds me of a game that I talked about in our preview video that I think you're going to have to spend a lot of time with to truly know. So I hope these reviewers do a great job. Unfortunately, I'm not, again, just to be clear with the audience, because I do get this question a lot, I won't be reviewing the game. So not because I out of choice, by the way, but I've barked up multiple trees now, and just to no avail, I'm not going to be reviewing the game. So I hope the reviewers do a great job and really put in the hours, because I'm curious as well. What I will be doing to see for myself is I'll probably stream the day it comes out, and we'll just kind of do a nice marathon playthrough and just log some hours in, see how it goes, and just hang with you guys. And then I'll do some first impressions. I'll beat the game. I'll do a final verdict video, and whatever news in between that we'll cover as well. But do I think it'll live up to the hype? I hope so, and I think it has a good chance to. But I think it just needs to be better than Dragon's Dogma. And that's tough in my opinion. I love Dragon's Dogma. Let's see here. Do you think an open world game in the gameplay style of RE would work? Requiem's more open, Leon segment bigger, being vague because of spoilers. Thank you for being considerate of the spoilers, by the way. This is awesome, Mew. I think what they did is about as far as they should go, personally. I think the game feels most at home. Their design feels most at home, and it's like at its best during the more tight sections with Grace, because those sections as Leon were also awesome because he had to like really move around tight environments and just like blow dudes' heads off. I think they'll try to go for something bigger. And if it, Resident Evil 3 Remake flirted with the idea, and like that also with like running around Raccoon City was awesome. I wish that was a little bit bigger, but I think what they did with that Leon segment you're talking about is as big as they should go. And anything more than that, I think runs the risk of feeling too just like third person open world game. And I like that. I like that this game had a particular flow to it where it bounced back and forth between play styles. It kept you a little off balance in a good way. So I think if you just go into one style now, of like just open world, you're basically making a massive level. Like, and I know that's like, I'm saying an obvious thing here, but like think of the hospital segment, right? Like it's a level, like you're inside a space though, so it doesn't register that way. But then you're in this big open area where you can go inside places like the hospital, and that's like its own level. That could kind of work. That's sort of what Silent Hill 2 Remake did, and like that would be interesting as well, but even more open than that. Like that could be kind of cool. Like if it's like a town instead of a whole city or whole world, that's what I'd be thinking of. But I think open world, like straight up open world Resident Evil would be a mistake. I don't think Capcom needs to do that, especially for how popular it is right now. They don't need to change much. You don't get review codes because most developers aren't ready for the honesty of a scorned Bethesda fan. I love how you worded that. Yeah, Corey, I mean, I don't think it's out of fear or anything like that. I think I just don't have the relationship. And I don't mean that like access media shit. Like I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying like I didn't form the relationship, and I'm starting to learn that in this industry, like if you're just not at these events, if you're not out there shaking hands and kissing babies and all that stuff, like if you're just making content from home, like you're going to get left behind, is what I'm learning and what I'm realizing. And I've heard that before, but I've managed pretty well on my own because my platform has been big enough where it's like, you know, this guy's gonna make noise. Like, of course, like what positively or negatively, he's going to be there. Because I've always been consistent, but yeah, man, like, I don't know. It's fine. Like I like we have a content plan, so it's fine. You know, I tried, and I feel good that I tried and it didn't work out. And it's like, okay, like that's what it is. So no worries on that. I don't think the developers are running away from any criticism though. You know, I don't get that vibe. Billy, I am still loving Pocopia. Excellent game. Ryan, I like that. Yeah. Back to the open world Resident Evil question. I agree that kind of like Evil Within 2 sandbox would be cool as well. Like not too big, but not too small. Appreciate you guys hanging and chatting like this. Yeah, like let's just do this for a little bit. Like just to be clear, like I just want to hang and chat for a little bit, and then we'll get into our news. I got our first story up here, but like I said, I just want to hang and chat with the squad. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. Best console to dive into the retro gaming world. Depends on your taste. Like my answer would be OG Xbox. Like I think that exclusive library is awesome and super memorable and fun. Some people would say GameCube because they like the classic Nintendo stuff. To me, it's very familiar and like you've heard about it before. Xbox has like a whole world you can discover, and then PlayStation 2 is right next to it. My biggest library in my collection is my PS2. You can't see it. It's that. There we go. It's there, but that's my PS4. Come on, Matt, rotate properly. There we there we go. That there is my PS4 section. But PS2, I think, is probably your safest bet. Games don't run the best there, though. GameCube has a lot of 60 FPS options, which is really nice for retro. 2016 Cubs World Series nearly gave me a stroke. I cried. I won't lie. I've been a fan since 85. I love that, dude. Yeah, that's how I'm going to be. Like, every time, like, my Rangers lose or my Mets lose, like, I am a little existential. I'm like, dude, one day I'm going to die, and, like, I got to see them win. I had an idea, an RE RPG. Could this be fun? Thoughts? I think so if it's like Parasite Eve. I think that would be kind of cool. I'm waiting for Capcom to kind of flirt with that idea. I know it's a Square Enix game, but I think Capcom could do something kind of like what you're talking about here. I think that would be fun. In the spirit of baseball, are you with me on needing a new Mario Super Sluggers? I desperately need it. I'm so surprised they haven't done this. They did Mario Golf. They ran back tennis twice. I'm like, who the fuck cares about tennis? Twice. They did Strikers. I'm with you. I'm waiting for Super Sluggers. Like, that is the Mario sports game. I showed up for Mario Golf. Mario Golf I thought was awesome, and the post-launch support for it was really great. But I'm waiting for the new Mario baseball game. I'm right there with you, dude. Completely. Billy, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Jay Chell, good to see you, man. Welcome back. Jaded Soldier, very excited to try out Crimson Desert. Like I said earlier, you might have just joined. We're going to be trying it on stream when it comes out. Alfie, I've not been hit by disc rot yet. Give it time. I got enough games in here. It'll certainly happen. Justin says, speaking of Capcom, they need to reboot Mega Man Legends. I think they're getting to that point. Obviously, they're running out of games to remaster. They did the Battle Network Legacy Collection. This month, they're doing the Star Force Legacy Collection, which, hang on. I got those games. Hang on. Oh, yeah. This cover art goes so hard, by the way. Just want to shout that out. This is Red Joker, And then they have Black Ace, also goes hard. This is Zerker X Ninja. Pretty cool. And then Pegasus and Leo. They basically tried to copy the Pokemon formula. But yeah, they're doing that. And then I think Mega Man Legends has to be up next. They're doing dual override, so they're bringing back 2D Mega Man. But they got to bring back 3D Mega Man. I think it's time. Certainly if they're bringing back Onimusha, they can bring back 3D Mega Man. And I say with all due respect. I don't mean like in a bad way. But Onimusha is like less known than Mega Man, I believe. So, yeah. I don't want an open world Resident Evil, if only because that means we see the RE engine get physically crippled the way it did with Monster Hunter. That's a good point. Way to call it out there. The tech concerns. Yeah, Capcom is not using the invincibility cheat code. Is Prototype the first game you play as a bad guy throughout the game? No, not the first one. I mean, there's plenty. I mean, there's also RPGs where you can just straight up be a villain, become a villain. So no, but Prototype's not the first one. And it's not, I don't think, immediately apparent as well. But good writing. I love seeing the Prototype love here. This is cool. I've been watching you since the Fallout 4 hype train. You were my most watched YouTuber last year. Thank you for your hard work. Question is, 0 parades on your list? Well, appreciate you, Francisco. You're always in these streams as well, man. So thank you. I'm glad you've taken a lot of Matty, dude. I'm your most watched YouTuber last year. That's cool. Thank you. 0 parades. Is this the game by Zaum? Or is this the team that's... Let's check. Yeah, it's by Zaum. I don't know, bro. Like, it's a conflict of interest again, where it reminds me of the Marathon situation. Like, do we punish a development team that's been hired on for their work when the prior team that worked on Disco Elysium isn't there anymore? It's tough. I haven't really given the game a glance because of how they treated those developers, and I haven't even played Disco Elysium yet, so like that should say all that needs to be said. Corey says, I like what the Evil Within did with their zones. Yeah, Evil Within has aged really well. I agree. Are you into games like Chained Echoes? That is we're talking about the indie game, right? I just want to make sure I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, this game's awesome. Really awesome game. $10 on Steam as well. Woo-wee. Yeah, this game's great, though. Really, really good stuff. And small development team. I think only like a couple of them. How many retro games do you have in your collection? I'm currently up to 876. Any more GameStop videos coming up? We might do a GameStop video. Like I said, I kind of wanted to cut that series at some point, but a lot of people really like it. I like doing it too. It's just I fucking hate GameStop. Kylo Green, thank you for becoming a member. Let me. I'm checking my collection right now. I have a number on my Game Eye app. 874 games. Yeah, quite a lot. I have to update that though. I forgot to, like, once I scanned everything in, like I have 2 games right here and I have to scan these in. And so but I've removed games from my collection. So it's probably in the 860s, 870s. It's somewhere around there. Maybe even less. I tried to thin out my collection. Would a Resident Evil cross Silent Hill game work? I mean, play Resident Evil 8's DLC. It kind of has the ideas of a Silent Hill game. It walks away from them by the end, but it has those ideas. And then it's got the Resident Evil 8 third-person gameplay. It works. I would like to see Capcom go more psychological for a game. It's crazy. Maddie's one of the handful of YouTubers I grew up with that hasn't completely lost their way. I've been sub since junior high. I'm almost 30 now with the skull emoji. Yeah, dude, I feel like the best thing you can do nowadays is, like, even if your viewership drops, like, just keep your head. Like, just keep... The internet will make you pay if you don't. I've certainly seen that happen to a lot of my friends online. I'm glad you like the man juice, Pierre. I should give context. He's talking about... Pierce Diamond is talking about the GameStop videos, but yeah, the man juice is definitely a big part of that experience. So we're always on the lookout, checking GameStop for the man juice. But yeah, I wanted to take a little break from that series at the very least, and I'm glad I did. Like, Retro Rebound's been doing super well, just focusing on games. And like I mentioned in my video where we might not do more retro GameStop unboxing, is like I don't want that channel just to be known for like I buy things. Especially because if I'm traveling this year, there's going to be videos of me like buying things and opening them and showing you guys like what I got when I was in Europe or when I was at someplace in the States. I like doing that stuff. That's fun for me. That's like, I always like to check out the retro shops in the areas that I travel to. Like when I went to North Carolina, like that's always fun. So yeah, I just like GameStop stuff, like is an addition to that. And it's like, so I have a ton of people who are subscribing until I post a video about me buying things. And I just think that's like a bad model. GameStop definitely is a biohazard though. Ice Cap Lord says I'm hype as fuck for Wolverine after realizing I could have a turn-based Persona style X-Men RPG, I will forever yearn. I remember when we got the announcement that Square Enix was doing Avengers, and I had this whole different image in my head. I thought it was gonna be a straight up like cell shaded turn-based RPG with anime aesthetics, and then we got Avengers with like the Temu Avengers cast. Xbox instead, people are allowed to like a game you don't like. It'll be okay. More toxic positivity. Yay. I mean, they're not wrong. You know, like I will like post like, yo, this game's sick, and people will take it like an attack. It's fucking exhausting, dude. Like, I get it if I go out there and I make a statement, but like, we are at the point where people are reacting to everything. Again, like, I think about how I posted on Twitter, how I was like, when Xbox posted the console news, and I went, okay, sarcastically, like as a joke. And the whole community just jumped down my throat. I was like, holy fuck, guys. Even if I was dead serious, I think it's totally well within my reason to be like, okay, who cares? Because right now you guys haven't given me a reason to care. But I wasn't. I was taking the piss out of it a little bit, just having some fun. But that's where we're at now. It's like these things are viewed as an attack. So I don't think I disagree with Xbox. I don't call it toxic positivity. When it's applying to games that are like legitimately bad or legitimately controversial, yeah, I agree. Like there's a level of toxic positivity, but I don't think it's like a blanket thing, you know? Dead P47. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Trails videos are fun to do. I got to do one on Horizon. A lot of people keep asking me about that, so I need to get on that. But thank you, bro. Appreciate that. I know you're a DBZ fan. What's your top 3 anime? Let's go with Death Note number 1. Oh man, DBZ number 2. Like, gotta give it to DBZ. Just too. It's obviously not like the best story of all time, but like DBZ is just too iconic. Too like I literally have it front to back memorized. And honestly, might kind of be. I feel like I'm. I was about to say Free Run. Like, I do think it's genuinely going to be up there, but we are only talking season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet. What would number 3 be? I wasn't a big Hunter x Hunter fan. I'm trying to go through everything I've watched. Oh, Attack on Titan. Like, my gateway back into anime and watching it all. Yeah, like Attack on Titan for sure. Duh. I sometimes forget about Attack on Titan because we got season 4 across like 40 parts. I remember as a kid, I used to think that Prototype was a Marvel symbiote game, and those videos of Carnage and Venom mods didn't help 7-year-old me. Yeah, dude. That's what I was kind of like with, what was it? Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Cut. When that was only in Japan, it like blew my mind. I feel that completely. Yodeling Llama says, Maddie, with Warner Bros. Being bought by Paramount, what do you think will happen to WB Games? Do you think we'll see a Nemesis system again anytime soon? To that last part, no. I don't think we will. To the WB Games aspect, I think Paramount, if Ninja Turtles is anything to go by, has more of a value of games than Netflix does, but very minimal. I think the best case scenario is these teams get spun off to another studio, like publisher branch somewhere, but they're probably not going to retain their IP. It's going to get messy. I don't think it's going to be great for them. I feel bad for those teams, especially like TT Games. That's like the Lego studio. So we can't lose them. That'd be, I think, devastating. Have you seen GOG has been porting PS1 games to PC? I have. They did. I saw they did some of the Silent Hill stuff as well. I think they have Silent Hill 4 is PS2. But I have noticed that they have been doing some work on there, and they've been tuning them, patching them. I love what GOG does. I made a whole video about it on Retro Rebound. Every game I'm looking forward to will be on Unreal. Do you think we lose something important when everything moves there? Really good question. I think the initial answer would be yes, given today's artistic direction and styling by developers, but you can make games look different in Unreal Engine. We've seen multiple examples of this. I always like to point at Octopath because to me it is proof in the pudding. Like it's a styling. You can, like, Unreal Engine doesn't determine fidelity. There are, for example, other engines that handle like sprite work better. Like you could argue like Unity does that 2D stuff a little bit better, but Unreal Engine has great lighting systems. And so that working in something like Octopath Traveler is true innovation for like Unreal Engine. It's mostly, I think a lot of people use it for 3D fidelity, but you can see the flexibility in a game like that. And I think it just shows that developers need to think beyond a little bit. Borderlands is an Unreal Engine game. You know, Mass Effect was Unreal Engine 3, if I remember correctly. You know, it's actually, let me check one game. I think this was also Unreal Engine. Hold on. What engine did Arkham Knight used a modified version of Unreal Engine 3 as well. It's artistic direction. It's not the engine itself. The engine is like the thing that powers the vehicle, but it's up to the developers on how they want to stylize it. So, you know, I don't think it's good when one company has like all these games under one engine, for sure. I completely agree with that feeling. That worry is there, but I do think developers have it in their hands to make these games look a little bit different. And again, I think it's understandable to blame Unreal Engine immediately, but again, I think a lot of the blame does fall to the devs in this case. I don't usually go blame the devs. A lot of times it's blame the pubs. And in this case, it could be blame the pubs. Like, make something that looks marketable. I don't know. But I wouldn't blame Unreal Engine for everything. Have you seen old Berserk anime, not the CGI one? I have not. I've read some of Berserk, though, because the art for that is incredible. Really good. I've only read like 10 volumes, though. Oh, here we go. JT Harden says, as a UE5 dev, I hate the misguided Unreal hate. Yeah, it's like, I don't work in UE5, but yeah, like I think Unreal Engine 5 is very powerful. Unreal Engine in general is very powerful. And I think a lot of developers, with the new power they've gotten generation over generation, have lost their optimization tactics that make these games run better, look better, and give it a more distinct appearance. That's why we see a lot of people going back to these 2015-16 games and going, why does it look better? Even though the fidelity is lower, why does it look better? Why does the image on screen look better? And so we're starting to get to that pocket now where developers are stepping outside and explaining artistic direction. It's something that I'm trying to continue to learn from my art director and my art team from, on sort of how this goes and like how we can optimize and like, it's just such valuable information to be on the ground level for, and just seeing how the sauce is made, if you will. But I do think a lot of the hate is misguided. It's understandable, but it's misguided. You know, proprietary engines, though, can be useful. Like, that's why we have something like Crimson Desert right now. Decima engine is another example. Like, there's room for both. You know, I don't think everything needs to go wholesale to Unreal, but it's also, they're publicly available. That's why a lot of people go to them. They're publicly available. And it takes a while to build your own engine. Have you seen anything on Xenoverse 3? A shame Bandai accidentally leaked it themselves. Excited for it, given Akira had a hand in it before he passed. I agree with that last sentiment. Yeah, that was like good to see he was involved in it pretty heavily. I have not seen anything beyond the unfortunate leak. I wish that didn't get spoiled, because it was that, are they doing it? And so that surprise did get ruined, but I am very keen to see what they're doing. No doubt about it. Xenoverse is like a game that I loved the first one. The second one was also great, but it was just kind of more of the same. And it looks like this new one is more of a reinvention on a lore level. So I'm keen on that. But that's next month at the Dragon Ball Battle Hour. So that'll be fun. See, Doomwalker's got it right. Yeah, when we're talking about UE5, with great power comes great responsibility. Marvel Tokon is UE5, so it shows that you can go crazy with art. If a game looks homogenized with others, that is a dev's choice. Sorry. Same with the new Bloodstain. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I'm trying to incentivize people to think. It's like, I get the Unreal Engine hate. I'm not saying it's unwarranted, especially on performance stuff. I know there's parts within that engine that developers do want fixed, particularly with like lighting and how it's bogging down performance and that sort of stuff. Like, there's stuff that was wrong with the guts of the engine, but I don't think Epic, for all that Tim Sweeney's caused in bad headlines, I don't think he was wrong for saying like, hey, it's not always us. It's them. And I don't think he's wrong. There's too many examples of games that look really good in Unreal Engine or run really well in Unreal Engine. I believe Silent Hill F was also an Unreal Engine 5 game, and that ran stupidly well. So it's also a skill issue at times. And I'm not saying it like it's easy. It's just, again, I think optimization has become a bit of a lost art in the trade-off for power. And now we need to go back and relearn optimization so that we can get also our file size down a little bit. That's the other thing. That'd be good too. What else we got here? Dave Wonder. Well, I want to check something real quick. Because I want to. Is Marvel Tokon on what engine is Marvel Tokon? Does it use? It says Unreal Engine 5 on Wikipedia. Oh yeah, 2025 Open Critic Fighting Souls producers promise more characters to come, and it says here on Open Critic, yeah, wow, it really does use Unreal Engine. I saw some people asking in chat, so I just wanted to double check that. Marvel Tag Fighter Arc System Works built is revving up to deliver an experience that only Guilty Gear producers can provide through their knowledge of the vibrant Unreal Engine usage. Yeah, very interesting. Anyway, back to this question here. Would like to know your stance on DMC6 and if it'll ever come to be. PS, my long-lived prototype. If I was rich, I'd make my own prototype. Damn it. I love this, dude. As for DMC6, I'm always down, dude. I will say this selfishly. When I saw DMC5 had to come first before they made Dragon's Dogma 2, I was a little salty because I love Dragon's Dogma. But I do want to play the original 3 DMC games. I played 4, I played DMC Devil May Cry, and I played 5, and I loved all those games, honestly. But I would love a DMC6. I think they'll no doubt do that. Have you ever played Beautiful Joe? That's one series I wish would come back. I'd even take a port. I've not played this one. I have it in my collection, but I have not played this one. I've heard good things, though. And I agree with this. I wish more engines were available to license out. Yeah, it requires more, like, probably deeper business deals with these companies. And obviously, these companies who make these proprietary engines then have to assign talent to make sure they're available to help with optimizing for their engine, because people won't know how their engine works compared to something like Unreal Engine, where you can publicly learn how that works. Have some self-respect and don't play Devil May Cry 2. I've heard that's really bad. Yeah, I've heard that's a really bad game. So, yeah. Anyway, let's we've almost been talking an hour here, guys. I appreciate this. This has been so much fun. We're gonna keep talking, but let's do one of our stories here. I think this will be a lot of fun. Let me get my Google Drive up as well. I want to make sure we can. This is an old college try here. I have Duran Duran stuck in my head. I don't know if anyone's listened to them, but I have New Religion just stuck in my head. Great song, but it's just trapped in my brain. Won't go away. Anyway, upon popular request, we'll start with the Fallout 3 story. We'll do that first. And then we'll get back to chatting for a little bit. And then we got an Xbox story, and then we'll chat some more. And I don't know. If anything pops up, we'll chat about that too. Josh M., good to see you here, bro. Ninja Theory DMC has banger gameplay, just as an absolutely abhorrent story. I kind of like how bad the story is, but yeah, dude, I fucking love the gameplay in that game. Like, I think it is so much fun. The reason I want to play all the DMC games is, of course, their place in gaming history, but also because I love DMC Devil May Cry so much. I want to play through these, these classics, and then get to that game again and see if, like, was I bugging? Like, this is a game I played in high school, so I could be dead wrong about it. But I'm very, very curious if I'll still love it as much, because what I loved was the angel and the devil style. Like, the devil would pull the enemy to you and the angel would pull you to the enemy. I just thought that worked so well. Respect the marathon for the 25 gigabyte install. Yeah, for real, dude. Like, this is rare. You see this type of stuff and it's like, what? How? All right, let's get this rocking and rolling here. I'm gonna try something a little bit different here. Like I said, I'm gonna be recording while also doing. I gotta delete a bunch of files here first. Hang on. I was doing some recording these last few days, and I did not delete any of my retakes. So I got, like, let's see how many items I have selected once this is all done. Hang on. Let's see here. Yeah, we're at 55. Ooh-wee. Yeah, 101 gigabytes about to go down the tubes here. Let's flush all that, and then we'll get started with this Fallout 3 story. 25 gigabytes because no content. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You didn't have to say it. You know, that's very true. It's kind of just running around a little map, and I don't know. I don't think Marathon's bad. It's not for me. I think the extraction shooter genre, though, if I want to give you like my scalding hot take, I just don't like the genre. I'm like, this is such a fucking time waster, dude. Like everything about it, like I'm just like, I could be doing a million other things. And so that's why I delivered my thoughts on Marathon. I was like, all right, guys, like this is how I'm feeling. It's fine if you're into this stuff, but if you're not, I don't think you're going to love it. So I think it'll find its crowd. The question is if it's enough for PlayStation. Okay. Almost 1,000 of you here. Thanks for being here. Let's do this. Let me, all right. Bring up my notes. Okay. This should result in a little bit of a sharper image quality as well for the uploads on Matty Slop. If everything goes well, we'll see. I might break something. I don't know. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Fallout 3. It has leaked again. You might have heard this one before, so bear with me. We got a little bit of a Fallout 3 leak history lesson to go through here and what is now one of gaming's worst kept secrets. If you're wondering why so many people have been begging and yelling at Bethesda to announce the remasters, it's of course because of the Fallout TV show. Like season 2 comes around, it looks pretty good, and hey, New Vegas is back. Can we go back there? We know Bethesda's probably going to do that at some point, but okay, the project's not ready. But like we know there is another remaster on the way. It is Fallout 3. It's been leaked time in, time out. There's a certain point where Bethesda needs to give in and just announce it. And I say that because, as I'll point out here, they've done this before. But let's go down the leak history timeline. And honestly, I'm giving you the abridged version here. Like I'm giving you the 4Kids version is what they call it, right? Where like they abridge the anime and they just give you like very little of what you actually like. So that's what I'm doing here for the Bethesda leaks, because there have been that many where I'm like, I have to shrink this down or we won't get to the actual news for like another 10 minutes here. Okay. So bear with me here. First and foremost, we go to The Verge. They have a screenshot right here, which showcases the entire ZeniMax management forecast. And when this thing goes away, we're going to be fish out of water. We're not going to know what exactly to talk about here. But this leak during Microsoft's whole FTC issue where they were trying to get the Activision acquisition over the line. And so everything was popping out. Phil Spencer emails were popping out, and we got this as well. And so we saw the roadmap coming up. You can see here under fiscal year 24, Fallout 3 Remaster was coming out. Now, most of this has remained true, and as I've said multiple times before, everything that is on that list I showed you has been delayed by about 2 years, which would put Fallout 3's remaster in about 2026. But given that we have Oblivion's remaster fiscal year 22, and that ended up coming out at the top of 25, I think the remaster's got a slight delay, so probably Fallout 3 Remaster, I would wager a guess, is like, we'll say first half of 2027. So that was the first leak. That's undeniable right then and there. But then we have reporters who get involved in all of this. And one of them was the homie Jez Corden. He posted on Windows Central. Some have been wondering if the mysterious countdown in Fallout's TV show Amazon Prime website is hinting towards a shadow drop of a new Fallout game or remaster. I'm told this is not the case. However, we are eventually getting a Fallout 3 remake in the vein of Oblivion Remastered, as well as New Vegas on top. I'm told Obsidian of Grounded, The Outer Worlds, and Fallout New Vegas fame has 4 new projects, some big, some small. Fallout co-creator Tim Kaine joined the studio a short while ago, and honestly, he says he's not sure if any of these are Fallout related, but either way, it shows Xbox isn't taking its foot off the pedal when it comes to content. So this was the first time that we actually heard about a New Vegas remake. We only knew about Fallout 3, but this was a reporter who was corroborating that information. So that's Jez Corden, who's well connected with Xbox. Then you've got Nate the Hate, who is involved with every leak under the sun and seems to be just ironclad with this information, says Fallout 3 Remaster is a planned release. Yes. So, okay, we've got a bunch of insiders saying things. That seems well enough for me. But then we get to another leak here. This is the latest leak that has now set off a conversation on why Bethesda just hasn't revealed this yet, and also like when we might see it and who's working on it. Okay. So this comes from 25 Years of Toys. It's new McFarlane Toys product listing, DC Multiverse, and more. Yes, really. It's a toy leak listing. We're now getting so many Fallout 3 remaster leaks that we are bleeding into DC toys. For those who don't know, McFarlane does this toy line here. I've got the New Vegas one right here. It's Benny. It's the New Vegas soldier here, or the NCR soldier, sorry, with the riot power armor. Or I can't talk right now. It is Benny as well as the NCR dude. So yeah, like this is an awesome little combo here. I absolutely love this thing. I also bought... Where did I put it? Hang on. I am now realizing how gross this is, but I bought these two as well. So I bought a lot of these Fallout figures. I'll just position these nicely here. I don't know. Let me rearrange here. Hang on. There you go. They're all my toys. I'm 5 years old. Anyway, what we see here is new McFarlane Toys product listings are going on. They're doing a lot of Fallout toys. And so in the mess of DC toys here, all of a sudden there's one thing that pops up, right? So you're seeing here, battle damaged Catwoman, Batman, Commissioner Gordon, Mr. Freeze, Penguin. You're like, okay, DC multiverse, sure. What's this? Helldivers 2, Ghost Machine, Fallout 3 Remastered, Nuka-Cola. The Nuka-Cola power armor for T. Okay. So there it is. It's right there. And then they have the Wolverine video game version as well. So there's enough here in the video game world to show that in the mix is Fallout 3 Remastered. Again, I'm like, you guys have merch planned for this thing? Like, just drop it already. And that's the Elite Edition, which falls in line with something like this. So it's like a single soldier or something like that. It's got all its little props. It comes with like the NCR riot armor here. Like it comes with like the sniper rifle and everything. It's awesome. It's got like little engravings etched on the armor. It fell over. Hang on. Okay. Stay. Thank you. All right. So yeah, you've got that. Now we got a Fallout 3 remaster leak through a toy. The question is, of course, who's working on it? This one was sent my way. I was originally going to cover it. I'm glad I held off because now it ties into this whole conversation a little bit more. Iron Galaxy posted today is our February company meeting. It's time to catch up with what the company's been up to and what's coming up next for Iron Galaxy. And then you look at this picture, you're like, dude, this Fallout fan base is so tortured. You're really going to put please stand by. This is the New Vegas loading screen. And we have the now rumor from Jez Corden. Again, we go back to this here that there is a New Vegas remake. Okay, so is Iron Galaxy doing this? Are they accelerating development? Like, is Virtuos handling maybe Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3? Like, which Fallout are they handling? And Iron Galaxy is here to kind of massage things. Because remember, Iron Galaxy did things like the port for Skyrim on Switch. They've remastered games before. They've helped remake games before. They did Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake. Now, I'll say this. I'm glad that the follow-up news happened here because I was not really cheering for Iron Galaxy to be the ones handling a remake of one of my favorite games of all time, simply because if Tony Hawk 3 and 4 were anything to go by, there's just too much that changed and it didn't retain a lot of the spirit of what made those games special. So they write here, nope, there's nothing to see here. Sorry to disturb the volcanoes, but that was just a behind-the-scenes look at our company meeting. We use that slide every month, and it has nothing to do with Fallout, anything being worked on. As you can imagine, we love Fallout 2. Now, pardon us as we retreat back to our vault. So they shut it down, which is good, but they're not the ones who are behind this here. So if you're looking for who done it with the actual remaster itself, my guess is, again, it's going to be Virtuos, and simply that's because they moved on from Oblivion remastered so quickly that I feel like you got to imagine that like there was a reason for that because it just demanded so much more support. Not like it was egregiously broken, but it needed a couple of more tweaks. And I feel like if they had to move on that quickly, it's because they had another project that like needed to come out quickly as well. And that would be, again, the Fallout 3 remaster, which a lot of you are also asking me when we might see it. My personal guess, if I were to put any type of moment on it, I would say it's actually this right here. The Fallout Day broadcast is what I'm thinking would happen here. I think 2024's Fallout Day broadcast is like, okay, we have a format. And then the broadcast for Fallout Day 2025 was a lot of like, hey, you like Fallout, Season 2's coming up. Here's merch. Here's Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, right? They did make announcements, they were just really bad announcements, right? So I do think this is where they pull the trigger again, because they've shown that they're not afraid to make, again, game-related announcements here. It would be October 23rd, and since I think this is going to be an early 2027 title, I could see this being the way they do things, especially because season 3 of the TV show is flirting more with the Enclave than ever before. So there's that factor to it. At the same time, Todd did talk a little bit about remasters and remakes and sort of how he's feeling about things and how many Fallout games are in development as well. So I want to go ahead, sit down, and take a listen with you all as to what our Lord and Savior had to say on the Kind of Funny Games cast and when we might be able to see these, because again, this could get shadow dropped, and we know Todd loves the shadow drop. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what is ultimately a 2-minute clip. So just bear with me here.
Hey, last time you were here, you were very cryptic. Said, "Oh, we have multiple Fallout projects at work for multiple." Give me a number. How many numbers we got? You know, Fallout 5, of course, that's happening.
Multiple. Yeah, the multiple is still the number. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he confirms real quickly there, just to revisit that topic. Multiple Fallout games in development. We never really get a number. Still don't know a number there. I imagine it's more than 2, but also you have to remember if we're seeing like, oh, New Vegas has been greenlit. We know Fallout 3 remaster is on the way. I'm sure something's got to be happening with Fallout 5. Are they doing more spin-offs? Fallout Shelter 2 or like something mobile related? Like I'm saying Shelter 2 is like the idea of another Fallout mobile game. I feel like a smaller Fallout experience is something that Bethesda might pursue. Like, so multiple might be an interesting number just to think about beyond the remasters, what exactly that could be. But on the topic of remasters, Todd did speak pretty candidly about how he feels about remakes versus remasters, which I've talked about pretty extensively, but just to refresh our memories on what he said and then get some extra thoughts out there on this Fallout 3 remaster, let's listen one more time to what he had to say. It's, again, about a 2-minute clip, so bear with me.
Okay. Yeah. But the Oblivion, surprise remaster launch, that was a big hit, right?
It was huge, actually.
People love that. That seems like a great thing to do with all sorts of Fallout.
I'm not really helping the timeline here, but I just love it was huge, actually. Like by the way. Anyway, let's continue.
Fallout games.
Yeah, I would say I'm softened on the whole remaster thing. There was a lot of conversation about, hey, should we remaster some of our games? You look at your catalog, you say, what's the right thing to do? We felt Oblivion was the right one. I am this is only for like the stuff we've made here that I've made.
Sure.
I'm sort of anti-remake. I respect the other ones out there, but I think part of the age of a game is part of it's part of what it is, like its personality and what it represented when it came out. And so as we approached Oblivion, I definitely wanted it to be a remaster, but kind of the absolute best version of that you can imagine. And so the original game, was important to us that the original game was running. It was like, okay, well, imagine you had patched that game many, many, many times for like many years. You had patched it. What would you have done? And so we sort of took that approach with sprinting and some other things. And then graphically, let's just make it look modern, but still in the style it was, right? So we're not going to redesign the armor to be something new in the Elder Scrolls. It's like that version of it looking the way you kind of remember, but up-res. So
I wanted to talk about that real quick as well, because a question I've got in chat a lot today is about the visual style of Fallout 3. Fallout 3 has, as someone eloquently put it in our chat at one point, the piss filter. Kind of yellow, green. Talk to a doctor if you got green pee, but you get the idea. Green, brown, it's ugly. It's ugly. It's deliberately ugly. And when you look at the next mainline Fallout game in Fallout 4, Bethesda kind of glowed things up. And by that, I mean literally brightening it up. Like it was more colorful, more vibrant, more saturated. Like it was a lot more, whoa, out there in your face. A lot of people are worried that they might take that approach because Oblivion Remastered, there is a discussion kind of ongoing about that game. And did they or didn't they veer too far away from the original art style? I think by, as Todd described here, up-resing some parts of Oblivion, like its armor sets and whatnot. It is just a very pretty version of what you originally got. But then what you end up with, because Oblivion was already a very vibrant game, but when there was like low poly and stuff, there was like a charm to it. And I think when it gets all of that detail added to it, it is just like I think for a lot of people, it just reads as vibrant fantasy world, which many of those exist. I think it still holds the charm of the Elder Scrolls universe. And I think that's largely because of what you're hearing. The music is so important to the Elder Scrolls universe, and it adds so much to that atmosphere. But I wonder how I would feel if I muted the game and walked around this world. Would it still feel and look like Elder Scrolls to me? But that aside, people are wondering, based on what we're seeing with Oblivion Remaster, if we should expect something that removes the piss filter. Will it look a lot sharper? Will it look a lot cleaner? And I think based on what Todd's saying here, it doesn't sound like that would get removed. Because again, I think about just like, what are the core tenets of an Oblivion open world, like Cyrodiil? It was vibrant. It was very pretty to look at even back then. Very colorful, just like a paintbrush stroked across the entire environment. It was just, you see everything from your oranges to your purples. Like, it was just very much using the entire palette it had. With something like Fallout 3 though, it's a lot more simple. It's like grays, browns, greens, debris, broken buildings. It's drab, it's depressing. And at the center of that all is Project Purity, which is supposed to be that like little bit of hope that you're chasing. The sky is very irradiated, very much like a kind of a brownish. But I think that ultimately they'll stick to that style. But I think what they'll do is give the world more of a living feel. So look at Fallout 4 as the touchstone there. Fallout 4 has weather. I think things like the rad storms could make their way into Fallout 3 remaster, and that would be really cool. That would add something to it. I think Bethesda should know that Fallout 3 has a somewhat oppressive atmosphere at the same time as being weirdly cozy, and flirting with ruining that would be a bad idea. So I wanted to talk about the visual differences that people might or might not expect before we kind of get into the concluding part of the conversation on what Todd had to say about these remasters. So let's just listen to the rest of Daddy Todd talk here.
I mean, that was our approach to that game. And fortunately, it was, it was really, bigger than we imagined. Another thing, I mentioned Fallout Season 2, but another thing where the sort of dartboard of outcomes, when you're touching a kind of, game with the legacy of like Oblivion, most of the outcomes in the dartboard are bad, right? You can mess with what it was for people. And so we talked about that, like, hey, here's the sliver that we need to hit that kind of, not just acknowledges the legacy, but in many ways enhances it. And so really proud of the work everyone did on it. And so we're very happy with it. And, clearly given the success of that remaster, we think about others, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay. So on top of all the leaks there, almost at a certain point, they don't matter, because like Todd's clearly saying there, like, we're going to do another remaster. That is the best thing about Oblivion Remaster selling as well as it did, is that I was just so happy to see people like Bethesda be like, oh, you guys would actually buy this? Okay, I guess we have to make more. Because like, yeah, the customers wanted this for over a decade now. It's been time. So I'm glad people showed up, put their money where their mouth is. Now, the problem is that with another leak that we have here today, I keep hitting this glass, by the way, right next to me. I'm sorry. It's my ring hitting my mason jar. But anyway, what Bethesda has not done is, I think, adjust to the leaks here. They're happening more and more. And what I want to point out to you is an example of a time they had a pretty high profile leak for a big E3 announcement the month before E3, and they had to adjust. Remember Walmart Canada? Do ya? Let me bring you back down memory lane here. Okay. So Walmart Canada leaked Rage 2, right? And this was the original posting. It said Rage 2, Xbox One. And you can see here that the Rage account went live and posted the anarchy symbol, wrong font, not all caps, missing age rating, incorrect key art. It was Bethesda's little cheeky way of confirming this Walmart Canada leak was in fact real. And you saw Bethesda got in on it. They're like, dude, Pete Hines responded to this saying, this is why we can't have nice things. And I just think this is something that is missing from Bethesda now. Like, there have been so many leaks, so many questions, and I think a lot of them do hurt them, but now also other companies, right? Like, Iron Galaxy probably had one of their most high-profile tweets in recent memory of 638K views, 5.3K likes, confirming that they're not involved in Fallout. Like, Bethesda knows that the demand for Fallout is high, and when things used to get leaky like that, they would get on their toes and do something about it. The problem is this continues to leak, and I'm sure their thought process is Todd's probably using this as a weapon. Hey, just hold it for the shadow drop. Build the anticipation. But for me, I'm just like, dude, there was a time you guys just responded and made it fun, and then they revealed it a month later, officially. And I just think that was cool when they did that. And I feel like this would have been a great time, again, to do it. Maybe not with the McFarlane toys, but the other million high-profile leaks, the FTC documents, may have been a little bit too early. Okay, a Jez Corden report happened. We can ignore that. Okay, Nate the Hate says something. We can ignore that. But now you got McFarlane toys. Like, you've got official toy manufacturers now leaking your shit. Like, it's happening again, except the difference is Bethesda isn't really replying to it in the way that they used to. And you could say a lot about Pete Hines. I've always been a big fan of Pete Hines, though. And I feel like this is his missing influence here. Like, this guy would see things like this and help his team and respond and put up his games into the best position to succeed. Although he wasn't always too happy about it, right? Like, this example here was like someone said, Pete, where's the next Doom? He said, go buy a Magic 8-Ball at Walmart and ask it. So he clearly wasn't too happy about the leak, but I thought he always handled it kind of funny. But again, I know a lot of people didn't like Pete's sarcasm on Twitter, his kind of no bullshit attitude. But I just think that this version of Bethesda has been needed in a dire way because of just how many leaks have happened. I get it's not the fun thing for Bethesda to do. I get it's not part of the plan. I get all of that. And I get that for them, it's like, well, we're going to announce it. It's going to sit there for a year. But like, plans change, dude. And it feels like they just have refused to acknowledge that, or Xbox refuses to acknowledge that. Someone refuses to acknowledge that. And I wish they would adjust to these types of things, because with all these leaks happening, I wonder if it's affecting anyone who's, I've watched time in, time out as hype has turned into frustration for people. And then, yeah, eventually you let go when you're playing the game. But there is a level of like, this was such a belabored point. Like, okay, it's finally here. I think more companies should have their finger on the pulse with that. Not that it's going to hurt Fallout 3 Remaster. I think the game's going to sell stupid well. We're all going to be really excited about it when it gets revealed. But again, I think that Bethesda could make more magic with that moment. So anyway, Fallout 3 Remaster, again, leaked once more through a toy. That's always fun. Todd's basically confirmed already it exists. We're probably going to get it shadow dropped sometime in 2027. Earliest is the Fallout Day broadcast. I wouldn't expect this at like E3 or anything like that. And Iron Galaxy isn't behind it. So that's what's going on yet again in the Fallout 3 Remaster world. Fun times. Chad, I'm excited to hear from you. What are we thinking about the Fallout 3 Remaster? And now I'm really going to put my internet to the test here. Let's try to upload a file here. Let's see how long it's going to take. Less than a minute. Wow, we might have just hacked my whole fucking content life, dude. This is crazy. Whoa. I agree, DeMarco. Walmart Canada sounds like a fan-made Fallout pod project. Some people saying sweet. Some people are saying it's all right. They're indifferent to it. I'll play it regardless, but improve the gunplay and I'm sold instantly. I think you don't have to worry about that, Schluberkin. I think you're good on that. I think the gunplay will be more in line with Fallout 4. Like if Skyrim was the kind of touchstone for Oblivion Remaster, I think that Fallout 4 will be that for Fallout 3. So I think it'll play a little bit better here. Let me share this folder with Emmett. I don't know if he's in chat right now, but let's do this. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 sec. Okay. Let me catch up with some of these super chats too. Fallout 4 worked for what it was because it was about rebuilding after the devastation, so the brighter colors were warranted. I agree. Exactly what I said. Completely agree. Oh, and another one from Ice Cap Lord. That snark probably went away because marketing shifted with Xbox PR. Even with Starfield, it was filtered through Microsoft rather than Bethesda directly. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when I interviewed Todd. I don't know if Microsoft or Xbox had to listen to that before it went live at all. I don't think they did. I think Bethesda handled it. I can't remember exactly. I just know I went through Bethesda for that. But yeah, I don't know how much Microsoft influences things. Like, because there are people like Brian Fargo who I've talked to who just like completely run their own shit. Like, when I went to interview Brian Fargo, Xbox PR tried to get involved and he immediately was like, I got it. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm media trained. I know what to do. I'm not going to do anything stupid. I got this. And that was nice because I got to just talk with the man himself and it wasn't this like get PR involved shit. So there are people who are under Microsoft PR who have that power to just be like, no, sorry. I don't know if Bethesda really runs through it that way. Bringing in Fallout 4 or Starfield-like gunplay would be a game changer. The original gunplay will not be well received by new fans. And yeah, like true. If it was like New Vegas though, where like stats affected things, like that's the other route they could take it. Like people forget that. Like New Vegas, like your strength mattered based on how heavy a weapon was, and it would affect your accuracy. And like that stuff is missing. I would love to see more of that in Fallout 3. Like to be fair, Fallout 3 is an excellent game. It's a top 3 game of all time for me. But New Vegas does an amazing job of like taking those mechanics and iterating on them with like more role-playing systems. And I think it would be more wise to look at that kind of component mixed with Fallout 4 and to make Fallout 3 this ultimate game. Like, if I'm Bethesda, and I mean this with all due respect, as a New Vegas fanboy myself, if I'm Bethesda, I'm really looking at this like, how do I make New Vegas fans shut the fuck up? Like, how do we even the scales? That would be one of the things that they should do. I wouldn't even think about Fallout 4 gunplay, just that alone. I think it would be like, don't make it casual. Like, add a hardcore element to the casual element. I think that would kind of smooth it over. Thank you, DeMarco. I appreciate that, dude. I want to interview Todd again. I would love to do that. Certainly, I have a world more questions to ask him now after everything that's happened with these last like 18 months at Bethesda. But I imagine after everything that he did with the Kind of Funny interview, he's probably going dark for another like 6 months or something like that. Yeah, Noxus, I do mean actual RPG mechanics. I do mean that. But they're not even like that heavy-handed. Like you can still aim a gun in New Vegas and shoot it, but it's just less accurate. It's less stable. And I think that sort of stuff, it's not easy. Like, you still have to work to do that, but I don't think it's like breaking the fundamentals of the game. Am I planning on checking out Yote Legends? Not yet, Jay, because I need to play Yote itself first. I'm behind on that one. So, unfortunately, no Yote Legends for me. Proper ADS in Fallout 3 as well. That would be a new addition, too. Yeah, like, Fallout 4 can influence it and how it feels and how you move and, like, sprinting and all that stuff. But I do think, like, looking at just the New Vegas role-playing mechanics would go a long way. Does the remake need a filter to keep up the vibes? I think, yeah, we talked about this, and I agree. I think, like, at the very least, you got to do what Metal Gear Solid Delta did. Metal Gear Solid Delta had a classic filter that I think got the job done, but it also removed that filter in a new look, and it was much more blue, and it didn't look as good. But Metal Gear Solid 3 was very green. Very, very green. It put Fallout 3 to shame. It was so green. And so the filter still wasn't as good, but it got close enough. And so I think that can do the job, generally speaking, if Bethesda wants to approach it that way. Oh, I missed a couple of super chats. Francisco the Disco said, buying a neat Vault Boy figure from Walmart for $28 made me realize how overpriced collector's editions are. Some of them don't even have figures. Shake my head. Yeah, Francisco, I agree with that, by the way. Yeah, these here were all pretty pricey. And Chris the Killer says, a Fallout Day with actual content, you've gone mad. Hey, look, man. I keep the vibes up. Let me reorganize this real quick here. Just got to put these back up on the shelf they were on, then put you back here. Give me 2 seconds, guys. All right, there we go. Got my Fallout figures in their rightful spot. Why do you think we've never seen it? This is why I love streaming. Sometimes I get these questions where I'm like, I love seeing where everyone's brains go, right? And I've never seen someone's brain go here. And I say this with love. Thor asked me, why do you think we haven't seen a SimCity style Lego City builder game? And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. That's a great idea. I don't know. Like, why not? Why not? I don't know. Too easy? Too much easy money? I don't know. Really good question. Let me... I'm just texting Emmett real quick to let him know what we're doing. Thank you, Mr. Green Arrow. First time caller. Love that. I remember trying to do live calls on stream. It just didn't work out because it ran through Discord because we had to like filter the calls somehow, but like it didn't work out. We didn't get enough calls. That was fun though. Norza, good to see you, brother. You want a Fallout extraction shooter? Are you trying to kill me, bro? No, you don't want that. Don't fight for that. It's like my worst ideas coming together. I'm sure they'll fucking do that. I hate how good that idea sounds because it's like I'm sure they'll do that. Hey, Maddie, longtime sub from Ham Radio Days. Have you played RE Requiem yet / plan on doing any vids on it? Well, thank you for being here, dude. I do have 2 videos that you can check out. Actually, more if you want to see me go all in on Resident Evil. But I did a Requiem Final Verdict video, so you can check that out. That's on this channel here. I did a playing Resident Evil 6 after Requiem video, which is like a spoiler kind of discussion, but it also gets into the weeds on RE6. So you can check that out too. And then that's on Retro Rebound. And while you're on Retro Rebound, you can also see my thoughts on like every Resident Evil game from 2, 3, 4 remake, 6, 7, 8. I already told you about 6, so 7, 8. So a lot of Resident Evil for you to go through, but I got some thoughts on Requiem for sure. So you can check that out. But thank you for being here, man. Chief Adam, thanks for becoming a member. So I love RPGs like Jade Empire, KOTOR, Oblivion, Skyrim, but never played Fallout. What am I missing out on? Dave, you're here and you're here and like this on this level. You're this engaged in the Mr. Matty ecosystem and you are not a Fallout player? That reaction alone is all you need, bro. What are you missing out on? Oh my God, dude. Where do I fucking begin? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Probably the most unique atmosphere you could find in a video game. That's like the first thought I have. With New Vegas, some of the best writing in video games ever. Some of the best reactivity ever. What else are you missing? Incredible music. The God tier lore. Oh my God. Atmosphere like no other. Like, oh my God, dude. Get on it, Dave. Dave, this might replace fucking Prototype for you, bro. Have fun. Go play Fallout 3 in New Vegas right now. Very, very accessible games. What is this Fallout you keep hearing about? Says Ashar. Yeah, like, let me tell you, Dave, it's some of the greatest shit of all time. And you're good, Volt, right? Don't worry about it, man. Happy for you to check out the Requiem content. Jasper's channel says, sorry, just got here. Do you think the Starfield update will provide us with anything that mods haven't? I know what's coming in the Starfield update. I can't answer that. I'm sorry. I hate that you spent $5 for me to give you a non-answer, but I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not going to say anything, unfortunately. And I can't wait for the day I can finally take the lid off and talk about what's coming up with Starfield, because I probably would have said no to Bethesda if I knew when they offered for me to see that new Starfield update that I would be like 6 months down the line still not able to talk about it. I did not anticipate that, so that kind of sucked. Potential strategic lockdown of your boy. I don't know. I might have drank the Kool-Aid on that one by accident. But yeah, unfortunately can't answer this, dude. I'm sorry. Mr. Green Arrow says you should check out the latest ESO update and everything they're working on. I do want to check it out. I always like to see what ESO's up to because they do a good job over there at ZeniMax Online Studios. Love that team. Very nice people there. A lot of them reached out during the when I was kicking the shit out of Xbox for canceling Project Blackbird. That team is a family, dude. That team is a family. and they fight for each other, and they were feeling some type of way. I've never had devs reach out to me, mainly because I keep my lines pretty closed. Like, I'm very sensitive to I don't want any influential figures in my inbox. I like to just keep my thoughts to me, and I don't like to get involved in other people's background information and drama. It just feels very high school, and like, I'm not an insider or a leaker or that sort of thing. So it was the first time, though, my inbox was getting hit by like a lot of different people from that team who were just like, thank you, or like, bro, fuck them. So yeah, I really like that team, and I'd love to see what's going on with ESO. So I'll check that out a little bit later. I want Halo Wars cross Fallout strategy game. Bad idea. Maybe just because Fallout doesn't have it. Like, Halo Wars has tons of Spartans on the field and big vehicles and whatnot. Fallout's like about the desolation, so not bad idea, but maybe not the right fit. Like, that could kind of work for Elder Scrolls. That'd be fun. PlayStation exclusives are back. Let's go. I love the hype. I know KOTOR and FOTOR are at the forefront of upcoming Star Wars games. Have you heard anything about Eclipse? It kind of vanished. Yeah, you'd have to imagine the reason that God, who the fuck is developing that game again? I forget their name because they barely release games now. Star Wars Eclipse developer. I'll answer your question in a second. It is Quantic Dream. Yeah, I imagine the reason they released that other kind of like weird multiplayer game or whatever they did was because like this game is still long in development. They just needed to like keep some type of income kicking their way. Like, hey, let's see how this one goes. Just release it. But Eclipse, I've heard nothing about, like, not on an insider level or anything like that. I've not heard anything. I think that game is like just gone for a while. And this is the year that you're going to get Zero Company and you're going to get Galactic Racer, and both those games look great. So that'll be fun. But yeah, KOTOR and FOTOR will lead the charge. And maybe we get a KOTOR re-reveal this year. I don't know, man. That seemed to be the rumor. There's a pulse. We'll see. Any PS3 Platinums this year? Yes, New Vegas. Yeah, that was a good one. One of my favorites. Had a lot of fun getting that. Maddie, did you catch the 8/31 date on the Fallout statue pre-order? I did not. Is that a placeholder for like the end of a quarter? I don't see it here. I'm looking right now. It says right here, Fallout 3 Remaster, number 13, T45B, Nuka-Cola, Elite 7-inch. I don't see any like August 31st or anything like that. Let me know, bro. Let me know. That might be a little bit of a... Might discover some gold right there. Do you believe that the next Xbox will allow you to upgrade RAM and memory, since they're joining the PC space? Not having that feature could prevent PC players from adopting the device. This is where, again, this whole conversation about is it a console or not is going to be really funny to see how it ages, because like, you don't upgrade your console. You buy your console and that's it. That's the beauty of the simplicity of the console. It is the direct SKU that developers build for. Like, that is the target platform. It's not going to change. So that gives them a baseline. So if Xbox is stepping in going like, we're going to build this device and it's going to change, then my guess is that like the baseline would be whatever the PS6 is, because that's a stable thing. So I think if Xbox wants to embrace the PC space, this should be upgradable. It should be. Like, why wouldn't it be? Especially if they're talking premium, powerful. It's about performance, is I think what Asha Sharma said. So yeah, I do think this is something that they should embrace, but it'll bring out an interesting conversation of like, how accessible can they make that? Will the casual adopt that? Because, you know, like, peripherals can sell well, like PlayStation's shown that, like with their disc drives and whatnot. But I imagine they'll embrace this if they want to actually be in the PC market. I think they will. Kind of funny interview. Todd clarifies when talking about remasters, the games he says he worked on previously. He did include the first two Fallout games, Fallout 1 and 2 Remake. Man, I mean, good catch, but I think the first step is just making those games accessible. There are so many people. Then again, it's like, does it matter to a lot of people? I think it should. I think it'd be really interesting. How do you not look at Baldur's Gate 3 and then think like, we have that sitting there for Fallout 1 and 2 in some way? Maybe. That's a good catch. For Retro Rebound on Castlevania, I recommend playing JP Castlevania 3 for better difficulty / balance and music, and bundle your Lord's video with the PS2 games. Curse of Darkness is very Matty coded, basically SMT. You got me hyped, bro. A lot of this community with telling me about Castlevania has got me a little bit excited to see where things are gonna go. I have a lot of options with Castlevania. The listing has been taken down, but there was a placeholder image and it was a Nuka-Cola bottle. Interesting, Anthony. Okay, all right. We'll look into that. Could be a new layer here. Let me get our other story up in the meantime here, just for when we want to let it rip. Because like I said, this is more like a chatting stream, but we do have the Xbox story to go over. It's a lot thinner. I should say it's thin. It's more of an extensive Jez report and then a report it reminded me of. All right. N64 was upgradable. That's so true. I forgot the N64 had like the rumble pack and whatnot, the expansion pack. That's so true. Because wasn't it Donkey Kong 64 that couldn't run without the expansion pack? Yeah, Xbox has a little bit of an uphill climb. We'll see. We'll see if the casuals want to upgrade their consoles and whatnot. Glassdoor Gamer, based on leaks, Helix GPU will be commercially available at AMD, so why not allow for modifications for the enthusiast? Then yeah, those leaks, I don't know where the source is or anything like that, but just going off the information you're providing me, again, I think them allowing to be upgradable would make sense, and especially if Xbox has always had their foot in their mouth, like, we're the most powerful console. This allows them to at least have the caveat of maybe out of the box it's not the most powerful, but if you buy this, then it's most powerful. So, yeah. Interesting. It'll be fun to see how they kind of find their space. We'll talk about it with what Xbox and really Microsoft in particular are saying, but it's interesting to see how they're excited to compete, especially because they're not going to be doing it, I think, in the most traditional way, which I don't think they're going back to exclusivity. I was talking to it a bit about it with Jez. I'll actually talk about that conversation we had in a little bit here when we dive into the subject here. But what Xbox is doing is very interesting. I'm not counting them out, but it's very, very interesting to see the path they are on right now. And if it's a Satya path, it was the original Phil and Sarah path, what are they going to do is switch things up here. What movie tie-in licensed video games from the Xbox PS2 era and PS3 360 era do you think would hold up if they were available on current gen? Yeah, I got one right for you, bro. Hang on. Just sit there real quick. The one and only. This game, dude. This fucking game. This game. I do think the new Wolverine game, if it's as good as it looks, will finally take over this one, but this would 100% be on my list. Obviously, the Spider-Man video games. Like the movie games, the Raimi Spider-Man games, 100%. Would love to see those. I'm looking at other licensed games in my library here. I mean, there are some that are when you say licensed, I imagine you're just talking broad. It sounds like you're talking about movie games. But if you're talking broadly, it's under an IP, of course Ultimate Alliance, that needs to come back. The fact that Ultimate Alliance 3 is still exclusive on Switch is fucking crazy. I really thought that would have been temporary, but Marvel signed that deal and made that happen. I hope there's a Ultimate Alliance 4. That'd be sick. What other games? 007. Hold on. Where is it? Right here. Nightfire. Easy. Do I have any others? I mean, Star Wars, of course. Some of these are back. Republic Commando is back. Obi-Wan is hilarious. That'd be fun. Jedi Knight, good one. I think that's back. Jedi Knight Academy is back. So there's some that are back. Great question, though. I love these licensed games. Yeah, someone saying in chat, Transformers, Deadpool. Yeah. Good picks. Schluber King, good to see you, brother. Finally beat survival mode on Fallout 4. I think I'm going to do KCD next. Any other suggestions? Okay, so you're looking at survival mode games. Stalker. Look into Stalker. Stalker 2. They've been updating that game a lot. I don't know if that big update came out for it yet, but that's one to keep your eye on as well. So, yeah, that would probably fit your pocket of what you're looking into. I've never done KCD survival mode yet. I know that goes hard. Have you played Slay the Spire / Slay the Spire 2? 2 is so much fun in co-op. The drawing feature is genius and dangerous. Oh God, I didn't know there's a drawing feature. That's so funny. Oh no. I played the first one. I loved it. I played it a lot on my Switch. Slay the Spire 2 I haven't played yet. I'm learning that my early access rule, I talked about this last stream. Sorry, my blanket fell over. I learned this last stream that my early access rule no longer works, because there are companies that are releasing games in early access that are not, like, they're complete. Like, they're more complete than most 1.0 games, and it's really, I think, just a way for them to get updates out quicker without having to, like, vet them until they decide, like, okay, we're at 1.0. Like, Hades 2 in early access was better from what I read online, what I saw impressions and reviews, than any other game that was releasing at that time. So does early access really matter in the indie space as much? I think I got to loosen up on that, because when I saw Slay the Spire 2 and I'm like, oh, it's early access, it does, like, take the wind out of my sails, because what I think of really more than anything is not like what's the finished game, but what stops me is like, is there going to be something that really bugs me with this game in early access that gets fixed? Then shouldn't I just wait for that so it doesn't ruin my experience? So I go back and forth on that a little bit. Oh, someone brought up Lord of the Rings for our licensed games. That's a good pick. It's a very good pick. Oh, Strange Winky. I don't know why you have 2 super chats that came through for the same one. I'm sorry. I wish I could, like, refund super chats for these types of moments, because can I? Channel activity, go to channel, report, remove. Yeah, I wish they could let you, like, refund in real time, because I feel bad. Sorry about that, man. But thank you for the double super chat. John Doe, I have been keeping up the World Baseball Classic. Watched the U.S. game last night against Mexico. Good game. It's been fun. Oh, I see Winky wrote, oops, have a 20. Yeah, sorry, Winky. I appreciate that. I don't know why they let you double pump like that, but take my money, brother. Okay, thank you, dude. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you. Uncharted Wolf, the homie. Go back to anime. You need to check out Vinland Saga. I'm so confident you dig it. It's only 2 seasons. Yeah, that's my type of anime. Long anime, I got a love-hate relationship with. There is some long anime. I'm a DBZ fan. I love OG Naruto and Shippuden. Like, I love long anime. But then there's long anime with a bunch of O's, like One Piece, where I'm like, I watched after the Alabasta arc, which is in most cases more than multiple shows, right? Like, that is over 150 something episodes. That's so much. And I'm not even close to done. But at the same time, I watch, like, all these mangakas that burn out, and One Piece Oda keeps going. And I'm like, that's so admirable. I owe it to him to just watch this. But for me, short anime really does, because short anime says to me, you have a vision. That's why Death Note is something that is my favorite. I adore Death Note. It was, like, very concise in what it wanted to be. But Vinland Saga, I have no doubt I'd love. I've been told over and over again, like, you got to watch it. It's so good. You know what my mistake is? I get lost in some of these shows that, like, I want to finish out. So, like, right now I've been working on My Hero, which I know is going to make a bunch of people's eyes roll. Like, you're watching My Hero over Vinland Saga. But it's because I'm on, like, the end of season 6. Like, I'm almost at the end of My Hero. I ought to finish it, right? Why leave crumbs on the table? I ought to finish it. Like, so that's my mindset. But anime's been tough for me because I've been watching more movies. I'm playing more games. I'm always playing a ton of games. Who am I kidding? But I'm watching more movies. Something's got to give. I'm reading more books. Something's got to give. Anime's been the one that gives. So I've been an anime casual. And I guess to my benefit, you know, we're not getting as many shitty anime tie-in video games as we used to, or when they do come around, they're, like, just kind of not marketed at all and people forget they exist. But yeah, like, it's not like it's affecting any game content I usually, like, when Attack on Titan was doing, like, video game stuff, like, that keeps me engaged too. I don't know. I'm just always driven by the games. I'm annoying like that. A lot of anime nowadays also kind of misses for me because a lot of it's focused, like, we're in an era of like animation making up for bad storytelling. Like JJK Shibuya arc kicked a ton of ass. That was great. Like, it was great story, great action. But that's a show that, like, with its music and its action, like, people just love how hype it is. But that first season to me, I was just like, I don't know. I hate to be that guy. I'm just like, all right, it just feels like, oh, look at the flashy colors and look at the flashy animation. Do you care now? And I'm like, no, because I don't care about these characters at all. Like, I don't care what happens to them or how cool they look. So I feel like a lot of anime's done that, where their stories fall off tremendously, where they're like really well animated, but the stories fall off, or the gimmick is interesting in the first episode, but it falls off. So I like just getting invested in the characters in the world. Like one show I've been watching a little bit, and I'm almost past the halfway point, is a Full Metal Alchemist. In fact, you'll be very disappointed in me that I stopped watching Full Metal Alchemist to watch My Hero Season 6. But My Hero Season 6, especially the hero villain war, I felt like I made a good choice. I'm not going to lie. That shit was awesome. That shit was awesome. Zenchia asks, are you going to do more TV show reviews, or is that just a Fallout thing? I'm hyped for Darth Maul's show coming out next month. I'm going to be real with you, dude. Like, I would like to, but I like two things about the fact that I don't have to review TVs or movie. I didn't realize it would become an issue, but number one was when I started doing them on Retro Rewind, I started to feel like everything in my life was content. I like that I can go to the movie theater or watch a show and, like, it'll maybe be relevant in something I have to talk about at some point in time, but it's not for content. So there's that point. Fallout is for, like, Fallout does affect my content, or if, like, we got a, I'm trying to think, I covered the Witcher show, but the Witcher show ended up being ass. But, like, Cyberpunk, like, it's just, yeah, it's very much like I'm so deeply ingrained in Fallout. Of course I'm going to review the show. It's so big, like, of course I'm going to review the show. So I don't expect more TV show reviews, but also beyond just, like, not wanting to do it for content, it's tougher to make content for, even when you want to. I remember talking to Bethesda and being like, hey, do you guys have, like, press packs or anything for when each episode comes out so I can use these screenshots to talk about in, like, episodic reviews to reference what I'm going over? And that stuff's just not readily available. Like, gaming has a good where there's trailers, B-roll, there's, if a good reveal happens and, like, a developer or a publisher, is prepared, they have all of the content you really need. And TV and stuff, like, there's tons of copyright issues to work around. It's tough. It's tough. Dave Wonder again. Got Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition coming next week. Ready to get on it right after RE Requiem. We'll let you know what I think for sure. Thanks for recommending it. Oh, dude, I am so excited for you. Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition with all its DLC is great. And if you like that, then I will say this, that New Vegas with all its DLC is even better. I like Fallout 3 more because of its atmosphere and its world, and, like, the questing is so good too. New Vegas does all of that better, though, to be frank. It's just New Vegas, especially New Vegas alone, is not better, I think. Like, I will go that far, but with its DLC, New Vegas is fucking unmatched. So if you like this, the fact that you get to experience Fallout 3 and New Vegas for the first time, oh my God, dude. This is what my viewers on Retro Rebound feel when I show up and I'm like, I played Metal Gear Solid for the first time. They're like, you got to experience that raw in 2025 was when I did that video. You got to experience that without any spoilers. That's insane. And so, yeah, dude, like, I'm envious of you. That's sick, dude. Have fun. Have fun. Welcome to the wasteland, as Synchro said. Welcome to the wasteland. Have fun, dude. This shit might replace Prototype for you. I don't know. We'll see. That's true. Machine XP. Dave, you got to let us know. Dave, did you get Fallout 3 Game of the Year on Xbox 360, or did you get it on PS3? If you got it on PS3, bro, you might want a refund right away. If you got it on 360, you're going to run through back and pat, you're safe. Come on, Dave. Come on. We're waiting for Dave to pop up in chat. He got it on PS3. Oh no, Dave! Dave, get the refund. Get the money back. Dave, you can't play it on PS3. You can't. So, I'll show you a clip of what happens. Hold on. Let's go to the Mr. Matty Twitter account. Hold on, Dave. Dave, you need visual evidence on what can happen to you, how bad it can get. I have to keep my volume off because it's got copyright music. So let me give you context here first. Dave, what happens when you decide to play a lot of Fallout 3 or New Vegas on PS3 is your save file bloats because it's committing to its memory. Each time you drop an object on the floor, each time you kill an enemy, the game is remembering where all these things are. So your save file grows, and as it grows, it's connected to your frame rate and it gets worse. If you're like me, by the way, and you know about this sort of stuff, Dave, even then, as I strategically navigate it, I keep fucking hitting this glass. Even if you're like me and you strategically navigate this, Dave, you will still end up with something like this after 50 hours. Okay, it's silent gameplay. But just watch as the guns start going. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is, Dave, this is what you're signing up for, bro. And I'm telling you right now, you don't want this, Dave. There's nothing you can do to avoid this. This is why when people glaze New Vegas and talk about how great they thought it was when it first came out, I'm like, no. We're not going to pretend that this wasn't what it was like back then. So this is New Vegas, but Fallout 3 has the same issue. As someone who platinum both games, take it from me, Fallout 3 has the same issue. So just keep that in mind. Fallout 3, any Bethesda game pre Skyrim and before, stay away from PlayStation versions. And then if Fallout 4 is fine on PlayStation now, but yeah, Dave, if you can avoid this, bro, I'm trying to save you, man. Just making sure Dave's okay here. Chat's trying to help Dave out here. Turn this into a Matty Slop short. I love Akimbo looking out for the views. He's like, yo, bro, this is content. Believe it or not, as a content creator, I'm terrible at my job at times. I'm very bad at thinking of content ops and being like, ooh, that was a moment. I don't know. Not everything has to be content. I like that we can just hang out and talk and just help Dave out or something like that. That's to me more valuable than a short. Also, if we're talking just like, by the way, money, like I don't know if shorts even make cash. Like, I don't know. There's a level of growth that comes with it, though, that I'm going to have to embrace TikTok at some point. But I need someone to manage that. I can't do it. I don't see Dave in chat. I hope what he's doing right now. I'm hoping my man is just busy on his eBay app or whatever, just getting his refund. That poor seller on eBay, like Dave just bought it and went, hey, by the way, you can have it back. You're not content brained. I am not. Yeah, that's how I would say it is. Like, I mean, I think a lot about my content. I try to be very like cognizant of, when I'm I have to plan. Like, of course I have to plan. But again, I don't want to be so content brained that I'm like everything is content. I think that's a problem. If someone wants to do it for me, like I don't want to manage shorts and make shorts. I don't want to make short form content. But if someone wants to think of that short form content and then like kind of go like, yo, Matty, here's how we would do shorts for you. And like, all you have to do is X, Y, Z, or I will take these videos and turn them into shorts. If someone wanted to do that for me, I'd be a lot more open to that personally, because then I'm not doing it. I'm not thinking about my content in long form manners. So that's how I'm looking at it. But in the terms of like making it, like actively making it, that sort of stuff I try to avoid. I'm going to delay our video here for the Matty Slop channel because I want to get this Xbox story out today. We'll delay this by a day. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to do a little quick. You want to talk about me not being content brain? Here's me managing the channel in real time. Oh, hold on. Dave's been saved? Hold on. What did Dave say? I'm looking for him in chat here. Thank you, Matty. I just canceled it. Dave, I got you, bro. I got you. My prototype brother in arms. I got you. Chat's got you. No problem at all. Anyway, back to the shorts conversation. The other thing I want to avoid, there's already a lot of me. Like, you have 3 channels worth of me that I can maintain very easily. Like, it's work, but I know I can do it thanks to the team that's behind me. And then I do a podcast as well. And then I'm going to be making games with the team as well. That's plenty. I don't know if you need me in a short form manner. But at the same time, I need to grow my platforms. And I'm like, okay. So I'll have to think about it. A lot of people want me to do shorts, but I don't know. I'm a little bit in the middle on it. You know, I don't want to be that guy. I don't know. There's people who want to be that guy. And I'm like, am I fighting against my own progression as a creator by not trying to be the guy? Do I need to be the guy? I don't have an ego like that, but do I need to be the guy? You know, I'm the one who's out here like trying to review these games, but getting denied. I'm like, it's probably because I'm not the guy, but does that matter? And by chasing being the guy, you lose what you got here. You know, got to take it today's audience first, take care of today's audience first. So I don't know. Shorts are kind of like low on the priority list. It was really just getting Matty Slop off the ground. That was more important to me. Shorts are kind of this one thing that like, I see a lot of creators. I talk to a lot of creators in our kind of like, we have like an agency that manages a lot of us for sponsorships, and like we always like exchange ideas, or I just watch them exchange ideas. And I watch them talk about short form content. And like a lot of creators don't even like manage their own shit. Like they're just like, yeah, like we just let someone edit and manage the shorts for us because we don't want to bother with it. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of where my head is at, but is that right? So I don't know. It'll have to be something that someone will have to convince me of it. I shouldn't be fighting against my own growth is where I kind of struggle with myself a little bit. I'm like I do need to a lot of our game is built around like the idea that I want to have a big platform so that I can reach a ton of people. And it's like, if you don't have short form content, I'm missing I'm basically doing a 180 video campaign, if you want to call it that. Like if I wanted to reach out to my audience, it's only through YouTube. It's like, I have no ways to hit an audience on a short form video and just get them into the long form stuff. So that's how I'd want to structure it. Like getting them into what's already here rather than making it all about like the individual shorts. But again, it's something I'll have to think out a little bit more. Right now, getting Matty Slop into an area I'm really happy with. Like I'm happy with it now, but like really like where it's like retro rebound, it's like Mr. Matty, like we've got it. You know, there's no question marks. And then maybe I'll think about shorts and what that could be. But also we have a milestone hit for our game, so this is probably a little bit down the line. Yeah, short form viewers can be fickle for watching long form content. Exactly. Like that's the other thing is like I've just noticed that in the past, like that a lot of people are like, it's a separate audience. And that's how I like to treat things. Like that's why I did Matty Slop separately, because a lot of people are like, why don't you just take these videos and put them on your MrMattyPlays channel? I'm like, dude, I've like established a content bar. Like I'm not going to sacrifice all of that just so I can put it all in one place. That's no offense to anyone who suggests that, but I was just like, that's just a bad idea. That's how you like kill what you've built. So if I go short form, it's not like, I don't know if like throwing shorts on Mr. Matty would make sense. It's like, I probably want to make a Mr. Matty. I do have a MrMattyPlays TikTok, but actually like nurturing that rather than trying to like build it into what we have here. I got to talk to people and learn more. You know, it's something I'm not super fully educated on. Thank you, McLovin. Matty's already that guy to me. Whether it's shorts or full length vids, I'm going to get my Matty fixed. Thank you. I just try not to assume too much of myself. I think like the more you try to take up the spotlight, the more you're welcome in a punch in the face, like is how I look at it. So you got to be careful with when you like growing is fine. It's fine. It's exciting. Like, of course, like no one was more stoked than me when we saw Matty Slop hit 20K subs in a single month. It's like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. But after that, it's like, okay, this isn't going to continue to be this explosive. Like, how do we maintain this? Like the hype's going to wear off. How do we settle this? And so I think like, you don't want to like, your eyes can't be bigger than your stomach. That sort of lesson. Dawsy Nesse. I feel like I'm butchering your name. I'm sorry. Man, I've been watching you since 2014. You've helped expand my gaming taste, and I appreciate your industry knowledge. Keep up your fantastic work. Wow. Thank you. That's sweet of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Love you all too. Thank you for being here. I don't know about that, Shady. He said Matty's the type of guy to do good and whatever. I'm not that guy. Unfortunately not. I'm only good at the things I'm interested in. And even then, I have a lot of learning to do. Who's ready for our next story? I feel like it's time. We're going to read this Jez Corden article and then go into what I feel as we go along here. Let me answer this question first. Hot Lettuce TV says, forgive me if this isn't the place for a question like this, but I'm considering getting into more retrospective talking point content. Any advice on starting? This is the perfect place to ask those questions, dude. I like talking to people about like, okay, you want to make content, like, you know, here's how I can help. I told my wife that like entering this year, I've been trying to meet with more, I don't mean this insultingly, but more smaller creators, I put in quotes, like people who are figuring things out and helping them figure those things out a little bit quicker than I did. And so I've had a lot of creators reach out to me and be like, hey, like, can you sit and talk? And like, I've tried to be like giving a lot of my time to that as well. So this is a great place to just sit down. If you have content related questions like, hey, I want to start this or I want to do that, you know, I'm absolutely more than happy to, pardon me, help you with that stuff. When it comes to retrospective stuff, I will say this. Synchronization has helped us a lot on Retro Rebound. Like that synergy between something modern, like something happening now that relates to your past is number one, easier to pull off than you think, but also was very key to our growth. When we were originally just ripping retrospectives, nothing was working. But then our first big experiment that paid off was I talked about the Raimi Spider-Man movie games when the movie Spider-Man No Way Home was coming out. And obviously, given Tobey Maguire's involvement, this was like a big thing. Like, oh my God, he's back. And so let's talk about these games. And I didn't think about it much at the time, but we did that. And then I kind of hit on unique angles as well, which really worked for Retro Rebound too. The main goal of that channel was, hey, I haven't played a lot of these very popular retro games, so I should kind of embrace that angle. So for me to post a video as a big JRPG fan and say like, hey, I played Chrono Trigger for the first time in like, I think it was 2021. Like that was kind of a, whoa, like I want to watch that. For a lot of people who don't know me, like I want to see someone who's experienced this for the first time. Those two helped me break a lot of ground with Retro Rebound. And then just embracing that viewpoint. The newest addition we've had to that sort of, that content rollout is playing games after the current release. And it's usually for a multitude of reasons. Like sometimes it's just a side-by-side thing. Like I played Pokemon Legends EA after Digimon Story Time Stranger. And it's like, yeah, here's Digimon dunking all over Pokemon. This game looks like shit. And here's why I like Digimon more right now. So it sometimes sizes up like that. There's situations like Requiem with RE6 where it's like, yeah, RE6 had a lot of great ideas and Requiem understands that because it takes almost all of them and makes them really good. It makes you feel like Capcom doing Resident Evil 6 again isn't this super insane idea. So there's a couple angles you can take, but those are three I do, and maybe that helps you a little bit. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Dave Wonder got the Game of the Year 360 version for Fallout 3. Thanks, guys. Dude, awesome. You're going to have, now we can say it, Dave's going to have a great time. Let's go, Dave. Love to see that, bro. Great community moment. We saved Dave, and now Dave gets to enjoy one of his favorite games of all time. How about that? So, Dave, thank you. Thank you for letting us know. Appreciate you, and have a lot of fun, man. You're about to have an amazing experience. And that step out moment, bro. Oh, Dave gets to experience, he in 2026 gets to step out into the Capital Wasteland. This dude's about to have an E3 moment like no other. My pleasure, Hot Lettuce. Happy to help. All right, let's get into the news here. Right, I have to remember, I'm recording this. I have to get into this new habit here. Okay, here we go. Let's get into the second story of the day. Like I told you guys, I only got two today because I just wanted to hang and chat. And this has been a ton of fun. I think we'll do this more, especially when like news is light. This has been, I love doing the news streams as well. Like that's basically what we're doing. But this has been also like really fun in its own way. Just hanging and talking. All right, let's get this thing started. Okay, let me start recording here. Ladies and gentlemen, the rollout of Xbox news continues on here. We keep wondering what the big first move for Asha Sharma will be, and we learned that was revealing Project Helix, which is this new PC console hybrid. And then on top of that, how involved is Satya Nadella in what's going on with Xbox? We saw images going around that there was an internal Q&A, an internal panel where Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella was there and hosting that alongside Asha Sharma. This was a bit interesting and noteworthy because what you're going to see parallels of here, and what I want to get into a deeper conversation on, is this conversation here from 2021, where Phil Spencer and Satya were side by side. And again, you see Satya sporting a Halo Infinite hoodie, and you see in this picture here, he's in his Xbox hoodie. Normally, Satya's in that corporate wardrobe, so you're seeing him dressed down a little bit for the gamers. But in this video here, it was always, I think, one of the more significant parts of Phil Spencer's tenure here, because the title says it all. Why Microsoft is all in on gaming. And this was Microsoft giving a commitment to Xbox that they were all in, and from there, they would have Bethesda as part of their fold, and they would eventually buy Activision. And they did give them their backing. They did give Phil and co. that kind of checkbook to kind of empower their gaming division. Obviously, we know as they flew closer to the eye of Satya, things got a little bit worse for Xbox because their margins got significantly worse too, and so they needed to have games overperform, and that just wasn't realistic with the IP and content that they were working with. So I say all that to set up that seeing Satya talk with the Xbox team is pretty noteworthy because we're running back to that 2021 moment. Again, as you read some of these key quotes, what I kind of walked away with a feeling of was, again, Xbox is saying a lot of the right things. Like, I look at this and I go, okay, like, I like a lot of what's here. It's about the action that's being taken here. But it did bring about a talking point that to then, as we get into this article here, this is by Jez Corden, and Jez is a friend of mine. So I reached out to him about this article because I said, hey, I found the energy in this article very reminiscent of when Phil and Satya kind of renewed their vows, is how I jokingly called it. And that, is it possible that Satya kind of had a falling out with Phil over the years, which is why he and Amy tried to take over the Xbox division. And so we had an interesting conversation that I wanted to kind of bring to light here today. But let's read a bit about this Jez Corden insider report here on the big internal Q&A that amplifies Microsoft will always invest in gaming. So what they're trying to dispel here, knowing, again, Microsoft's always working in a way where they know things are going to leak. So when these inside things happen, they're also marketing to the outside, but they're trying to reaffirm that they're not going anywhere here. So let's start reading this article, which for those who are watching on Matty Slap, this will be linked in the description down below. Jez writes, this past week, incoming CEO Asha Sharma was joined by Microsoft top CEO Satya Nadella in an internal Q&A to discuss Microsoft's top-down vision for gaming. Donned with an Xbox hoodie, it was honestly refreshing to hear Satya Nadella speak so positively on the Xbox division. We verified the transcript of the Q&A with multiple sources. Here is what was said. So let's get to reading here. Because, yeah, that was the other thing to take away from here. It's been a lot of like bad news around Xbox, or things Satya has said have really kind of tainted the brand. Like, if you're going to let us compete, then let us compete. Why do we have exclusives? That sort of stuff, right? We thought this was stuff that he was saying just to get the FTC to kind of let the Activision acquisition go over the line. But we eventually learned that, oh, no, he really feels that way. Now, continuing on here, Asha Sharma introduced Satya, who remarked about his happiness to be there. He also noted how he initially came on as Microsoft CEO. There were similar doubts about his knowledge on cloud and infrastructure before he led Microsoft toward being a global leader in the space. He also noted that gaming remains one of Microsoft's biggest capital investments, in representing a long-term view of its role within Microsoft. Quote, there are core identities in this company. I don't think Microsoft will exist without these identities continuing to thrive. We're a platform company, a developer company, being a knowledge worker company, and gaming. These are the main identities of what Microsoft has always meant and will always mean. Therefore, we need to take that. We don't always take it for granted. We need to renew it. I'm really thankful to Matt and Phil. And hey, he even mentioned Sarah Bond here, and all of you who have built this franchise into its 25th year. Sharma thanked Satya for the opportunity and noted Xbox's uniqueness. She hailed the team, calling them incredible, noting that over 10% of the Xbox team has been there for over 20 years, which I actually found to be an interesting stat. I was not aware of how much of the original Xbox team was retained over time, but I do think that is quite unique here. Continuing on, though, Jez writes, she said it emphasized Microsoft's long-term mindset, reiterating Nadella's comments on being long on gaming, and asked him to elaborate on that point, to which we see here, quote, whoopsies. Let's try that again. Frankly, this applies to anything that we do. We should be in the core of what we do here for gaming's sake. It's not about anything other than being just an excellent company and an excellent steward for what it means to produce great games, produce great systems and hardware here. So now we're at the point of, again, they're saying the right things, and this comes down to trust. You go to social media, And you see who trusts and who doesn't, right? When I read what Satya's saying here, which is like, hey, we're all in on gaming because these are the core identities of the company. And you see here that, frankly, anything we do, we should just be at the core of what's the sake of gaming? What's for the sake of gaming? It's not about anything other than just being an excellent company and a steward for producing great game systems and hardware. The reason, though, that I think that this is really important for Microsoft is because I think they are afraid of other OS encroaching on Windows territory. Right now, Windows is still the dominant operating system, but you're starting to hear more murmuring about like SteamOS, Linux. You're starting to see more murmuring of that. And given that the future of this Xbox console does depend so much on Windows getting its act together, I think Microsoft understands that the gaming space drives a lot of the adoption of Windows. But if we start to see Linux, SteamOS, and others crack into the mainstream in a significant way, I do think this creates a big problem for them where they lose control of a space that they have dominated for a long while. And look, to be frank, the Windows space is so bad that I had a friend who handed me this like command that I put into my administration shell, and it just removed everything from Copilot to OneDrive, like all of the bullshit that Microsoft is known for just bloating their OS with. And this has ruined every experience from the gamer to the common user. Like I remember when I installed my new PC I got right now that I hooked up in December, and I'm like signing, I'm like, why is my internet so slow? Dude, Microsoft was uploading my whole desktop in real time to the cloud. And I'm just like, why? I don't want to go up on OneDrive. I don't want to have all my stuff up on the cloud. Like I understand the idea here, but when I denied it in the first place, why is this here? So I do think that when gaming is working so hard at like optimizing the OS, I feel like those goals align for Microsoft where they cannot lose grip of that PC space. And so gaming is intrinsically valuable to them, even if like maybe deep down Satya could be someone who's indifferent to how gaming used to be or how it runs. It does serve Microsoft's interest in a certain way, which is why I've always said when people ask me like, is Xbox dying? Are they going anywhere? I'm like, I don't think Xbox is dying in the way that people think they'll die, where one day we'll see the wire post that says Xbox is out of business or we're shutting down the whole brand, we're shutting down the whole division. But do I think the Xbox as we knew it is dying? 100%. Yeah, like I think that's pretty hard to deny when they're going all multi-plat and their new system is embracing PC and console. Like there's a lot that we once knew them for that is gone now. So let's continue on here. Nadella emphasized gaming's legacy and influence on Microsoft in the wider technology stack, talking about how gaming has served as an accelerator for cloud, Windows, GPU-based server revolution, and beyond. But he also said that doesn't mean moving away from what people expect of gaming, and explained why Microsoft will always continue to invest in gaming. So here's like the big one here. The trickle from that excellence to the rest of the company becomes straightforward. I joke with Jensen Huang, if it wasn't for gaming, NVIDIA wouldn't exist. I think about without DirectX, I don't think the entire GPU revolution or the acceleration would have happened. That's why I'm long on it. Phil, he always talked to me about how gaming is the largest entertainment category. What is gaming in its most expansive form going forward? That doesn't mean we walk away from what people are doing today. When we think about a AAA game on a console, the question is about where we can extend that. So again, sounding like multiplat. For me, we're long on gaming. We'll continue to invest and we'll always do so. It's up to this team to show an excellence in execution and creativity. Software always carries risk, but the software with lots of creation risk, it's way different, but yet we have to be the best in class at it. So I like that emphasis here because one thing that Xbox is really missing is that kind of game of the year style game. So yeah, I think an investment in excellence sounds great. Will there be action though? This is the question that we continue to return to. Will there be action? Will we see something that they're doing that indicates, again, because again, you got to think about it, right? Like as they continue to say the good things here, we saw this happen before, right? Where we see here, this is why I'm long on it, right? I'm long on gaming. We're long on gaming. Before this, we saw Microsoft is all in on gaming. So this is sort of like the president backing the new voice. In this case, Phil had already been there for a while. So I did find this pretty significant because it felt like Microsoft and Xbox were gaining momentum. And then Satya giving that full backing was like, okay, here we go. But it is shadows of that. So again, I mentioned earlier how I reached out to Jez because he wrote this article and I was like, hey, I'm curious what your read of this was, because I looked at this and I said, with the shades of that kind of Phil Spencer talk, I'm wondering if there was a falling out of some kind. Jez hypothesized that given Microsoft's like diving headfirst into AI and how he was clearly absorbed by all of that, that it's possible that Satya was not involved at all in the Xbox business and left it to other EVPs to penny pinch and micromanage, kind of like what we saw Amy Hood doing, where she was talking about like the moat and why would you do exclusives of any kind? Like just put them everywhere. This became a big problem for Xbox, as we saw in the long term, where their multi-platform strategy helped them make a lot of money, but it also kind of undid a lot of what made their brand special. So what it looks like here to me is that Satya is now shifting his focus back to Xbox in a way of nurturing it a little bit more before passing it on to Asha to do her thing here. At least that's how I read it a bit. And it's interesting, again, to see the kind of energy in the room and in this conversation, because it is a lot more of like a fighter spirit. Like, we're going to keep going. And that's not really matching a lot of what the public sentiment is, which is like a lot of it's over or why should we care, which I think the last part is still very fair. And I'm still in that camp of like, again, the reason I'm not coming in here like I'm hyped is because I went through a whole generation of buying into Phil Spencer speak. I know how that goes. It doesn't go well. So I want to see what Asha Sharma does here. And the article continues on because we still got a lot more to read through. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma discussed the time she'd been spending with Xbox's different teams and talked about Microsoft's long-term legacy as a software company factory historically, emphasizing that great games can't be manufactured in this way, but instead need to be crafted by humans. I'm spending a lot of time thinking about how I can empower these worlds, these stories, and these characters, she said, asking Satya for his thoughts on Microsoft's responsibility as a company to protect the Xbox fan base. He says the storytelling. Why do we love games? They tell the stories, the mythologies that make us who we are. Getting down to the core of that, the craft that goes with it. This is the place where we have to get the cultural zeitgeist and then have it manifest in everything that we do. In the games, in the marketing approach, everything that we do in this brand represents that. I got some thoughts on that, but let's continue. Nadella said he hoped that other parts of Microsoft could eventually learn from Xbox. He said Xbox at its best lifts the entire company owing to its consumer-facing nature. He told anecdotes about how some of Microsoft's bread and butter, high-powered enterprise customers often wanted to meet him specifically because they're Xbox customers at home, not just because they're in enterprise. Gaming emotionally touches us, he says, saying he wants that aspect of Microsoft to exist always. So again, like a lot of emphasis on like we're sticking around. But to me, what we're starting to see here is an internal attempt at dispelling a lot of the AI slop fears that are surrounding Asha Sharma, right? Again, proof will be in the pudding, because when she kind of excitingly talks about putting people on tool sets and that's where the magic's made, that's where the moment's made, that's where it's really special. I do look at that sort of stuff and I'm like, okay, how much is it her just doing her job there? But also like when we're trying to get games out quicker, how much is AI going to be incentivized? Like, hey, you should use these tool sets. And again, when Microsoft talks about how Xbox at its best lifts up the companies, what better place to train some AI tools than in-game development companies, where this is how you train models. And like, I could see a whole initiative going down like that, but they're emphasizing storytelling. Why do we get into games? The emotional connections. And like, that is the thing that they are emphasizing here. So I have to be fair to what they're saying here. I'm like, yeah, this is the stuff I want to hear. A person who I effectively think at times the way he talks is like a straight up disconnected corporate robot. And I want him to talk about like, yes, storytelling matters. I want to talk about like getting down to the core of why we love games. I want to talk about crafted by humans, you know, like the conversation we have with AI. And I saw someone say it in a comment, I believe on one of my videos, and it was so perfectly put, is like, I don't want AI to do my art for me so I can go and do my laundry and clean my house. I want to have things to get rid of those arduous tasks so I have more time for my art. That is what enriches my life, not doing the day-to-day life things. That's boring, right? So I just only hope that their technology push here does not neuter the creative spirit at these Xbox studios. But given that they're talking emotions and how they understand that, I hope that carries over into the actual regime for Asha Sharma and her crew here. I also really like what Asha said here. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma acknowledges Xbox's difficulties as of late, saying that gaming has been in a transition phase. She said everything is being relitigated in regards to Xbox's strategy, echoing our recent interview with Asha Sharma, where she said that she's investigating some of Xbox's decisions over the past year. They discussed where gaming will go in its next phase of life, but Satya Nadella cautioned that Xbox can't lose sight of what it already has. Quote, "We have to make sure the friends we have today are the friends that you have tomorrow," Satya said of Xbox's existing customers. "You want to wake up feeling like your friendship has grown even stronger. This is hilarious, by the way, because while I understand the sentiment, I'm not going to bully them too much over it. You see the parasocial relationship on social media that some Xbox fans have with their company, and I see them talking like friendship, and I'm like, oh God. No one's helping Asha out here by getting her away from that sort of mess. But nonetheless, we have to really make sure, whether it's console, it's PC, whether it's a lover of Forza, Halo, we really want to make sure they love us for what they expect us to do. Again, very, very interesting here, because this again sounds like they're staying multi-plat, but they're also making sure they're focusing on, I believe, the Xbox customer of today. And how did they take care of them first? That was something that I think the Phil Spencer regime really represented strongly of doing the opposite of as it got near its end. You're talking about, I think the best example was Indiana Jones, right? When Indiana Jones and the Great Circle got its release date reveal, Xbox fans have been waiting for that. That was a highly anticipated exclusive. And then Jeff Keighley showed up with the spring release window as well for PlayStation fans. And while gamers who were just excited for the game, like I could not wait for this Indiana Jones game. I was like, all right, sick. Like this is what I'm going to play. I'm going to play on an Xbox. But generally the fan who was invested in that one ecosystem was like, really? After all this time? And yeah, Xbox was taking care of tomorrow's customers in that moment. And they have to balance that a lot better. So I do like the acknowledgement of that, because I do think they took their eye off the ball a little bit too much. Where again, I think they're going to stay multi-plat. There's just too much money to leave on the table. They made a spectacle out of it. I don't think you can put that genie back in the lamp. I could be dead wrong about that. And I will 100% make that video just taking my L if I'm dead wrong about them going back to exclusivity, because I think it would keep things really interesting. And certainly I'm for it. I've said it before that it's the way it can make some projects come to life. I've said it before on how not only can it make projects come to life, but also like it creates value around the box and why I would want to buy Helix or whatever it's called. But I just see a lot of indications here that, more importantly, they're focusing on the fans first and how they take care of them. And I'm wondering how they're thinking about that if you're still planning to stay multi-platform. Let's take a look at this final quote here. Satya Nadella talked about how gaming can be a force for good in the world and took a swipe at the doom scrolling culture that has begun encroaching on our free time. He said, joy is an active engagement hobby, like gaming and coding have an opportunity to make the entire world a better place. Quote, attention is a finite thing humans have. How can we earn permission tastefully for more of that attention? It brings joy back. That's the thing I always think about. Gaming is an active engagement. It's not that passive scrolling on things and so on. I do want us to be the ones to bring back that active engagement. That's what console and PC represent in some sense. Why do people love the controller, the console, or their PC? It's because you are immersed. I look at the reports, the level of hijacking of our attention that's going on. I want us to reverse that. Joy in coding, joy in gaming, that's all I want us to live in. If we can bring that back, I think the world would be a better place for it. Dude, I got an idea. Give up the fucking AI race. Like, holy shit. It's so funny because it feels like we're just returning back. We're regressing to the mean. That's what it feels like we're doing right now as an industry. PlayStation flirts with multi-plat. Here they are coming back. Xbox and Microsoft as a whole really go all in on AI, but Xbox starts going away from their core base. Everyone's paid a price somewhere. And everyone's like, hey, saying in a colorful, tasteful way, let's go back to what worked effectively. And it's like, yeah, did we really need to like destroy ourselves to get back to that moment here? So again, I'm waiting for the action, but I do look at them saying this stuff. I'm like, this is the right stuff to say. Like, yeah, attention is a finite thing. You are fighting against time. That is your direct competitor. It's not always PlayStation. It is TikTok. And people are consumed by doom scrolling and are, if any comment section or reel or TikTok is anything to go by, people are totally consumed by their own doom. And so joy does need to return to this world. It does. And I do think gaming can be a force in that. Like, I do agree with that wholeheartedly. Gaming is a healer. Gaming has healed some of my worst tragedies and traumas. It is 100% a healer, and it is an active engager. You have to hold the controller and do something. When you're watching, I've seen people watching shows, watching UFC cards, whatever it may be, and like grabbing their phone and scrolling in the middle of a fight. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, I know it's kind of the new way of doing things, but like, what are we doing? Like, we're double screening it now. I remember seeing a golfer that I really liked, and he was watching, like, he had one screen up and he had like 4 different panels around his screen watching all different sports. I'm like, what are we doing with this multi-screen experience? Like, the most you'll catch me on is like 2 screens on my computer, because I can do this. I can have OBS on one and see myself and make sure I'm recording and everything's working. And then I can look over here at my browser and make sure that's up for OBS to record, just like this. Simple. But otherwise, dude, like, I agree with a lot of what Satya's saying here. But it's all about proof in the pudding. I think no matter what they're saying, and look, they're saying a lot of the right things, but I just encourage again, and people take it as hate, and that's what bothers me so much, is that you cannot relent on your skepticism only because, to bring this conversation full circle, you have been here before. Look at this. You have been here before with the big commitment. Let's listen back on this commitment here, because I think, again, it's so interesting to hear what they had to say here.
Priority for Microsoft.
Thank you so much, Phil. Gaming has been key to Microsoft from our earliest of days, right? Our oldest currently supported software franchise is in fact a game, Flight Simulator, which we released 3 years before the first version of Windows even. Gaming is fundamentally aligned and woven into our mission as a company. When you talk about Xbox's mission to bring the joy and community of gaming to everyone on the planet, which I absolutely love, this is precisely what I think of when we think about Microsoft's mission, which is to empower every person, every organization on the planet to achieve more. So as a company, Microsoft's all in on gaming. We believe we can play a leading role in democratizing gaming and defining that future of interactive entertainment, quite frankly, at scale. There are really three, I think, areas or key areas where we believe we have incredible...
I'm sorry, I had to explain why I was laughing. I saw someone in chat say me when I lie. Okay, let's continue.
Competitive advantage. First is our leadership in cloud computing. Second, the resources we have to build out the subscription value and with Xbox Game Pass. And third is our overall focus on empowering the creators. And so I'm really excited about the opportunity in gaming.
So a lot of similar sentiment there. Like, we're all in. It's at the center of joy. It's something that's moving us future. It's Microsoft fully interwoven. Like, all our parts are interwoven into it, right? Very familiar, right? So I look at all that. I'm like, okay, similar. And to be fair, they did back up that talk. Again, they followed up with acquisitions and exclusivity and whatnot. So what I view this entire article as is more of a recommitment and an indication potentially that there may have been a falling out with Sarah. I guess you could combine them together. But Phil and Sarah and Satya and Amy. It feels like there was a true falling out in there. And this is a reinvestment in a new leadership core because things had been so far gone and like reassessing the business as it is. So it can go in multiple directions, which is exciting. I don't anticipate major shakeups. Like, again, do I see Asha looking at the numbers for multiplat and changing things up? Maybe she sees a similar, like, when you think about the money that PlayStation is making, people saw $2+ billion for PlayStation PC ports and went, oh my God, that's so much money. But then you looked at a chart and you realized that that was only like a max of 5% of their income in a quarter. That's not anything at all. It could be very much the same case for Xbox, where it's like, hey, this isn't helping us, and it'd be better for people to buy games on our platform. And so we'll see where it goes, but it is a recommitment by Microsoft. And if that conversation with Phil is anything to go by, then this could mean that we might see some pretty strong moves following suit. Not acquisitions, I don't think. I think if anything, Xbox needs to spin off some of the stuff that they've acquired, like Activision. But it'll be interesting, again, to see how they handle this moving forward, because we're seeing the kind of cycle begin again. Like, okay, Phil and Sarah, this new regime, we're into the new generation about a year. Here's Satya recommitting. Here comes the acquisitions. Here comes the big exclusives. So what follows up from a new Satya Nadella commitment to Asha Sharma and this new regime? Again, we're mid-generation. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but definitely something worth keeping your eye on, because no doubt this will be context to future actions they take and whether or not they were truly consistent with what they were saying, or if they lied to the very people who are working for them. We'll see if corporate does corporate things. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Sheesh. Very chatty. Very, very chatty. Let me get this up for the homie Emmett. Chat, how are we feeling? Phil censor. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's why he couldn't say that he got fired. He retired, but he actually got fired. It is going to take some getting used to not seeing Phil in like that sort of leadership role. Like I'm still getting used to this image right here. You know. So it's gonna take some time. Like who's gonna be like the right hand, left hand? Like we're gonna see Matt Booty. But who's gonna be like the other person? Like are they gonna be a trio? Is it gonna be a duo? I agree, Turtle. Talk is good. Hold the praise until they act. Very, very good. Let me catch up on some super chats. I know I got 2 here, so I can put them up on screen. Hi, Maddie. Have you ever tried the open microwave port of Morrowind for Android? It's awesome. Can't understand why Bethesda won't make it official. I've never heard of this at all. You'll have to tell me more about it. I've never heard of this. Open microwave port? I don't know. Am I misreading this? I might be. It's getting near the end of my day. You let me know. Microwave port? Open microwave port. Open microwave Morrowind. What is this? Okay, I'm on the website. Oh. I thought it might have been a typo. It really is open microwave. Holy shit, I've never... Oh my god. Yeah, check this out. This looks sick. This is Morrowind. They're still working on it. This is end of 2025. Nice. Thanks for the shout out on this, dude. Can I get a quick recap in exchange for juice money? Thanks. Also, did you see that Star Wars First Assault game is being salvaged and emulated by fans? Really? Really? Oh, man. I remember seeing that before we got Battlefront from DICE and being like, oh, my God. Like, we lost our Battlefront 3. That's cool. Okay, quick recap on both topics. Okay, so I'll give you the quick recap then. Satya Nadella is recommitting. He's renewing his vows, this time to Asha Sharma. He did the same with Phil Spencer. Good wording, a lot to be optimistic about if you believe what he says, but I think the prior generation taught us to wait and see and to not drink the Kool-Aid and just wait for action. But overall, if they follow up on their words here, I think we're in for a decent stretch of Xbox. As for the Fallout 3 leak, Bethesda needs to go back to their Rage 2 ways, and they really need to just roll with the leak and make something of it rather than letting them keep having their own surprise spoiled over and over. It's one thing if leakers do it, but now McFarlane Toys has leaked it. And so I hope Bethesda adjusts from that. And then also someone pointed out that the toy had a release date of August 31st, which was pretty interesting. So we'll see when it comes out. Satya sounds like he works for Arasaka. No. No, not the Evil Villain Corp. Let me catch up on... I missed a couple other super chats. Ari Emmer, thank you for your super chat. Finally able to join the live stream again. Cheers. Great to see you here. Comrade Casper says, can't wait until Dave finds the Republic of Dave. That's just going to change Dave's life, man. I can't wait for him. And then Ice Cap Lord, I missed your super chat as well. Sorry about that, man. Saying they're investing in gaming is not the same as investing in game hardware. Xbox consoles go away, but Xbox will forever be a thing through publishing, especially after this much investment. And yeah, I think that's the thing is I think they've committed to console enough times. I can believe this next console will come out. It just, the only thing that fights against it is if, a combination of like tariffs and consumer electronic prices, like continue to jack things up, and hardware continues to go down and they're not going to do anything to create value around the hardware, unless Microsoft sees an intrinsic value for their like PC hardware system or just their hardware ecosystem, even though they're mostly a software company, in making an Xbox, if they see something like intrinsically valuable to that even if it doesn't matter what the sales are, that there's some gain to their company, maybe they'll go forward with it. But if it continues to get delayed and prices continue to go up and hardware revenue continues to go down like it has for 3 years now, I can still see a world where like they just decide to flip that switch and be like, why are we doing this? That's all I've said. A lot of Xbox fanboys who attack me have always worded that as me saying, I said they'll never do a console again. I'm like, I never fucking said that. That's what we're at now. They're making things up. But yeah, I think Xbox consoles could go away. I think Xbox will still be a thing. Thank you guys, Cap Lord, for all your super chats today. I appreciate you, man. This whole recording and uploading thing might be the wave. I already got both videos to Emmett. We're not even done streaming. That's fucking crazy. That's like a life hack. His brain is in a mechanical jar in the big MT. Hey, why not? Fallout mimics reality. Listen, if Fallout Xbox's launcher continues to improve, we need to stop acting like it's the plague. I don't act like it's the plague. I'm not like, so for me, I'm not like the, what's the term I'm looking for that's eluding me? There's a lot of people who just like Windows bad, Xbox bad, right? But I don't think like all Xbox bad. I do think Xbox's PC launcher is terrible though. I've never really had a great experience with it. Like the download times on it are terrible. Navigating it is terrible. Their attempt at reworking it on the Xbox Ally is definitely worth monitoring. I do like the kind of fully integrated library. I think that's a good step forward. But it's not going to be where I run my games through anyway. But yeah, I do think like also I've know there are some versions that are bad on the Xbox app, so there's that too. So it's also got that working against it. So I do think the demonization of the Xbox app on PC is 100% fair. I think there's a lot that Xbox does get doomed for that's not always fair, but their PC app is fucking ass. for a company that's also been so in on PC since like 2017 really, with like bringing Xbox One games to PC day and date. It might have even been earlier than that. Just like, holy shit, dude. I really think they should be doing way better. Ice Cap Lord again, dude. Chill out. Save some money for yourself and the kids or whatever. Or get yourself something to eat. I appreciate you, dude. Tangential, but I read an LA Times piece on Gen Z resurging physical films and TV over the last year. I saw Spawnwave covered this. Paired with the PS News recently, it's interesting seeing people wanting this blanket reset on how entertainment is consumed. Yeah, I mean, humans are humans, dude. I think like there is a level of like, I'm like this. Okay, so nostalgia is powerful, but it's also very effective. And like this new generation is like grown up with Netflix and watching like, you know, like their shows through streaming services, never owning anything. And then they've got a generation just ahead of them and people like me who are like, dude, you know, like I remember going to Blockbuster. I remember renting games. I remember renting movies. I remember buying and owning my media and not watching it go and disappear based on the whims of some corporate overlord. And I do think people are nostalgic for that feeling. Like they desire to experience that feeling. And I do think, especially with AI pushing into robbing us of creative freedom, personal freedom even, I do think there is a strong insistence by all generations to kind of culturally reset. Not like we're going to wind back the clock on tech, but I think there is a demand for physical goods. And I think when you look at cultures like Japan, it's physical goods are deeply woven into that culture. It can very much exist with today's current technological infrastructure. And so, yeah, definitely for like Gen Z, it might be like a fad. They might just be like, oh, it's cool. Let's rent this. And then they'll go, it's so much easier to stream. But there is a level of like, time to sell my movie collection. Come get it, Gen Z. Yeah, I mean, I do think there's a novelty though. Like I watched Blade Runner, the original release, not the final cut, but I watched Blade Runner on my VCR right here on my TV while I was during my holiday break. I was like messing around setting up my computer. And like that was awesome, dude. Like there is, especially the way movies are shot nowadays, like they use more of like digital rather than film. And like that makes a difference in how the movie like looks. It feels it's an artistic thing, but it does impact it. Like I look at a movie like Superman, which I liked, but it's very clinical. Looked very, very clean, too shiny. And you look at just the noise on screen that just even like low lighting can create. I watch a show like Sopranos. I'm on season 3, and like just the amount of darkness in that show, where like half of Tony's face you can't even see, and how effective that is. That shit's like gone now. Everything's too perfect, too refined. And so I think there's people seeking like undoing that. Someone brought up bringing Netflix by mail. Yeah, that I told Netflix by mail. Blech, I'm starving, so I'm losing my brain. Slap an Xbox logo on Battle.net and call it a day. I've heard people advocate for this. This will be interesting to see how they're going to like bring in Battle.net further, because they're putting Xbox games on Battle.net. So I think they're flirting with the idea in some way. Breaking Bad's another one. Good call out on that, Drawn Out. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, Breaking Bad's also shot well. Yeah, they're just like, because, okay, so basically what's happened is because we have learned so much about, at least this is my general takeaway as someone who is, I have not released anything outside of videos, but I'm working on a game. What I've learned is that we're in a current creative society that is so technique-wise refined that they know the steps to do something, and so their creativity is systemic. It's like a process, and I don't believe that's natural. And so, for example, like a story, you have your beginning, middle, and end. You know, you have like the inciting event, you have a climax, it falls off, the conclusion, right? And you have like this natural flow chart, like you see the hero's journey. You see all these things, and these are like structures that you keep in the back of your head, but it feels like as we have created more and learned more about that process, we're trying to make it into a science. And I just don't think that works. I don't think that's how you do it. I think you can use that as sort of a guardrail. Like, okay, this will be our inciting event, and this will be our climax. But at the end of the day, the best stories are told in a bunch of that arc I described happening in little segments over and over and over again, peppered with micro tensions. That's how you, I think, get your story to tick. Not every moment has to be, whoa, wow, but like it's all building and amounting, and you're having that beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end, dozens and dozens and dozens of times over the course of your story. And that all chains together into a much larger one. And so I see like a more systemic, clinical way of approaching creativity. Like, this is how we do it because this is efficient. And maybe it is more efficient at times, but I also think you lose something in all of that. And so I think there's ways to have your guardrails and sort of how things are done while exploring them and thinking about things in new ways. Rewriting my novel, and I'm very worried about the first chapter and inciting event. Exactly. Like I've found getting started is always the toughest part when I do a skeleton for the stories I've written. It's always that it can start, because it's literally, it can start anywhere, and it becomes more real over time. It goes over and over and over, you know. Francisco's writing a novel too. There we go. It's funny. I was thinking about writing a book, not like a fictional book. I was talking to someone and giving some advice, and they said I was very easy to talk to, and that they liked coming to me for advice, and that because of how much like output I have as a creator, that I should consider writing a book. And I've thought about it and then not thought about it. I want to release the game first before I consider that. But I've realized, well, I think the reason I would want to write a book is because I am not special. I don't have like a PhD in anything. I was a B to C student in school because I only cared about my entertainment. I probably could have been an A student, but I never really heavily applied myself unless I really had to, or in senior year of high school, I got a swift kick in the ass. And so the way I became productive was through, I think, a very interesting methodology of like, anyone can do it. And I don't mean that in the motivating way, but that's what made me want to kind of write the book, because I was like, I think this would be applicable to anyone. It would be this realization of like, this fucking guy can do it. Anyone can do it. Because I'm not even saying in a self-deprecating way. I am not special. My ways of getting shit done, anyone could do. You know, it's and so that's why, like, when I got those thoughts and I started to dream a little bit, I was like, oh, I have too much on my plate now, but that is something I would love to do. That's the title right there. I'm not special. The title I had in my brain, actually, Jeff, was The Creative Machine. But I'm like, is that too, that sounds like I'm talking about me, but I was more so talking about like exactly what we're getting into. Like, people think creativity is automated, but it's really up to us and how our brains work. And I think that, again, we underestimate our own capabilities too often. You telling me I can make it as a knack content creator? Ash, you can be anything you want to be. But that's the thing, is I don't want to, if I were to write this book, it would not be from the angle of like, you can do it. It'd be like, I can do it, so I know you can. And it's really about like, do you follow these steps and apply yourself or not? And that, again, life, like anything in our entire life, really, just, there is no definitive rule set, but there are methods we can take to approach life itself that will help us navigate these situations. I've read everything. Flow is my favorite book of all time. absolutely incredible read and changed my life, changed how I thought about things, changed how I thought about my work schedule. And it was because it was just applicable thoughts and philosophy. It really wasn't a technique, a do this. Like I've read Outlive, which is a little bit different. That's a little more applicable. Or I've read 33 Strategies of War, which is like a great book as well, but it's at times like it's like a little fucking ridiculous too. Like I have a love-hate relationship with that book. Like there are chapters that are fire and there's chapters that are stretch, or just the advice is outright like, why would you tell any human to like ignore other people so that you can be more demanding in a room? Like what the fuck kind of advice is that, dude? That's such like artificially inflated ego on display. So I have a love-hate relationship with that book, but I feel like a lot of self-help shit is always in the camp of like, I don't know, like it's always like a science or something or a study. Like that's kind of what Outlive was. And I think what I love about Flow is it's very applicable. And so I would, if I were to ever write a self-help book, I'd number one need to earn it. I've made a lot of videos, but I haven't put art out into the world and I need to prove it to people. Because then that's what makes you buy into a self-help book. Like, hey, this person might know what they're talking about. Maybe. So I have to earn that. I don't think I have that yet, but I would love to write about that. Just like the methods in which I think, and that's it's very applicable to anyone. And so I've been like taking little notes, you know, like it would be, I like how you wrote it, Chase. Yeah. It's more of an advice book, not like a how-to. Life isn't a how-to. I don't know, Synchro, who these people are. I'm going to admit my arrogance here. Let's take a look. Who do we got here? Joe Dispenza. Oh, okay. He is a international lecturer, researcher. Placebo, making your mind matter as well as breaking your habit of being yourself and evolve your brain. Okay. You're hyping me up. And who's Eckhart Tolle? German teacher. German spiritual teacher and self-help author. Whoa. Now, I've actually never heard of these guys. Thank you for putting me onto them. I could read self-help books all day. I had to get away from them because eventually it's like such a rabbit hole where it's like, you're always like looking at how to reconfigure your life. Like how I can live it a little bit better this way. If I just tweak this and move this. One of the self-help books I want to read next is called The Art of Doing Nothing. I struggle with that. I struggle to do nothing sometimes. Because gaming is always, even like in my leisure, gaming is doing something. Like I like doing something. Like it's controller in my hands. I'm interacting. I struggled with TV and movies. I'm much better at surrendering myself to that now. But I struggled with that for a while because I'm just like, I like to interact, not just sit back and just let the experience come to me. That's why I can play horror games, but I can't watch horror movies. Because in the horror movies, I'm just like, I can't fight back. I can't do anything. I just have to sit here. David, thank you for your write-in here. On the topic of art becoming systemic, another symptom of this is cinematic universes and adaptations being the craze by big movie instead of original creativity. Yeah, exactly. Like everything, I don't think it's wrong. And maybe I don't know if you agree with this, David, but like, I think that it's okay when you start off like a series or you start off your project. I think it's okay to think about it sort of like a, what's next? I think to me, Mass Effect is the perfect example, right? It's very obvious that Mass Effect was thought of as a trilogy because you can see, if you want to use BioWare as the example here, Dragon Age Origins was very obviously a one-off. It was supposed to be. I mean, Mark Dara confirmed that to me when I interviewed him, but also you look at Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, there's no cohesion. There is value to that sort of universe level thinking of like, I want to know where I'm going next, especially because you want to take people on that ride. And you want to make it worth it. And you don't want to just figure things out when you get there. You have to have some idea on a broad level of where, you know, game 1, 2, 3 or movie 1, 2, 3, book 1, 2, 3, where they're going, or just 1, 2, you know, if it's duology, that sort of thing. I think ultimately that sort of stuff isn't bad, but when you start talking about it, I think the way it's framed is like the universe. That is such an easy term to, I would easily spit it out too. It's so easy to go back to, we're building the universe or this blah universe, like that universe. Because it's so easy to understand and process what they're making in that case. But I agree. It's got to start off with an original vision. And I think the other problem that a lot of creators run into is that they don't tell their first story in that vision as if people plan for the trilogy. And I think when you plan too much, that becomes a problem too. You need something that can hint that there would be a sequel, There is more to be said here, but it has to be conclusive enough where if you never get that sequel, that you as the creator can put your head on the pillow at night and be like, okay, I know what could have been, but it's a complete story. I didn't just sequel bait my whole audience and not deliver. I think that's like one of the most key points to kind of take away from it and how people think about series. Book on the life and times of Barry Emerson. I think Cod could write a good book. I start my story ideas always in the middle of the plot. I'm in the process of editing, recording my novel. I'm a mental health counselor and a creative. My story is a blend of adventure and mental health. I love that. That sounds sick, dude. Really cool idea. Yeah, I start at the end. I remember when I first heard, might have been Yoko Taro. I think he said he always starts with the ending. This was back in like before Nier Automata, I think. And I was like, how does that work? Once I started working more creatively, I realized that knowing where I'm going is everything to me. I am annoying to work with when it comes to writing because if we are trying to write blindly, I will stop us every 5 seconds. We need our endpoint. So what I found works for us is I define what that endpoint is. I write all up into that, and then we modify and edit what exists as a team. So I give like a clear creative vision, and then we kind of go from there. But yeah, dude, like it's interesting to hear how other people start their stories because I can see how the middle would work for a lot of people. It gives you room on the back end and the front end to kind of shift that point wherever. For me, I like starting at the end because then you know what you're building up to, right? That's super important. But I love that we got a lot of writers in chat, dude. It's sick. Love that. That's a lot of fun. Yeah, man. Writing is like one of my favorite things. You know, I always did it growing up, and then I got away from it for a while, and was more of just like a student of the game rather than like applying my writing. And then I've been writing these last 5 years, really just like writing stories, scrapping writings. I've scrapped so much fucking work. I mean, the good news is I've gotten better, but there's always room for improvement, I guess, right? But like, it's gonna be exciting to finally get work out there, and go from there, go from that point. Starting at the end would be tricky for me at the start, at the beginning. I get you, Doomwalker. I think for me, again, just knowing the ending is like, it's the North Star. It's what you're working to. And then you fill in that gap in interesting ways. Also, let me show you guys my favorite writing exercise. Let me bring it up on YouTube here. I think writers here will find this really interesting. It's an 11-minute video, but let's do it. I think it's really worth the watch. I think you guys will. Kernel of Creation's a cool idea. I like that. Okay. Let me get this thing up here. This is from Creative Distancing. This was made during COVID, and this channel basically got like other creators onto their channel to kind of talk about things during the pandemic. And unfortunately, it kind of fell off, but this is by Pierce Brown, who wrote the Red Rising series, and he's an excellent writer. And he talked about writer's block, and this is a tactic that I use frequently. This is actually how every character we made in our game, I used this and came up with their backstories. And then we worked on them as a team from there. But I gave the kind of general framework. This is one of the most useful things. So yeah, let's take a look. It's 11 minutes, but I'll pause and talk, but we'll watch this together.
Hey guys, my name is Pierce Brown. I'm the author of the Red Rising Saga, and I'm here today to teach you
Also, devilishly handsome, dude. What a great looking man. All right, let's continue.
how to overcome writer's block, at least to the best of my abilities. If I could do it perfectly, well, I'd probably be writing. First off, get yourself a glass. Second off, get yourself your favorite spirit, or a favorite spirit. Pour the glass a moderate amount. Don't get drunk. No one likes a sloppy drunk or a sloppy writer. Take the drink.
You are now fortified. I've watched this so many times.
You are now fortified. Ask yourself a question.
Dude, I by the way, I used to drink wine when I wrote. I used to drink a little bit of wine anytime I wrote. It does loosen you up, but I got away from that because I didn't want to create alcohol. I want to incorporate alcohol into my creative process. So I didn't want to really like mess with that, but it helps. If you're like, when I had to finish a deadline, I did grab a couple of beers and just like, it does let you just like, all right, here we go. But yeah, this is the bad type of enabling. But ignoring that part here, let's keep watching, because I think he gives some really good advice.
Why does writing matter? Everything going on right now, income's being threatened, well, general quarantine anxiety, fear of loved ones passing, and that's a real one. So why do something as facile as putting ink on a page? Well, because writing is what distinguishes us as a species. It's how we transfer stories, it's how we transfer emotions, and for me, it's how I've come to grips with almost anything bad that's ever happened in my life. It's a coping mechanism. Now, it doesn't necessarily solve everything, but it does help me articulate my id's innermost thoughts. Now, I know my innermost thoughts is a hamster wheel of bullshit, right? Did I pay taxes? Did I pay a parking ticket? Did I blah, 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 blah. Feed the dog. Yes, I fed the dog. But the point is that all these things can be quieted by understanding where the emotions come from. What is the root of it? How do you understand the world? How do you ask yourself, or you ask a reader a question, or you don't know the answer yourself to a question, and you pose it in a book, or you pose it in a story? That's not what we're dealing with today. What we're dealing with today, even though that's the underlying reasons why writing's good, we're dealing with today is how the hell do you get over writer's block? First off,
before he gets into that, I just want to say that, again, I love what he said about writing and just how it like conveys the human spirit. It's one of the many reasons why, as a reviewer, like, I do grade writing harshly. Like, I don't excuse shitty writing. And like, oh, it's fun. It's like, dude, I can guarantee you, like, if Crimson Desert's writing's ass, you'll hear me bitch up a storm about it, because it's just not like, well, it's fun, or I play games for the gameplay. It's like, great, dude. Games are now a storytelling medium, and it's like, if you're not using that, it's just like a vehicle. It's like, fine, that can exist, but like, it's one thing on a PS2 game to be saying that, but when we're in 2026 saying that, at a certain point, it gets a little tiring. Comrade Casper says, wrote my own Fallout story, and Chris Avellone approved that it from a lore point of view. He's a real one that responds to fans. Yeah, dude, I love Chris. He's such a good guy, and I actually asked him if he would look over my story whenever it's ready, and he did say he would. So I am terrified, but I'm also really excited, because I would love nothing more than to be that dude's pupil. I think he is the most brilliant writer in the industry. Let's keep watching this video, though. For the writers here, I think, again, you'll appreciate what he gets into. This is the exercise here. Again, this is about getting over his writer's block, but I thought a lot of what he said here was very interesting.
I want you to take a character that you have. Can be any character. If you don't have a character, then write in a question mark. Or probably supplant someone from your own life into it. So I'm going to write down a character from my series. The book's called Lysander. Some of you don't like him, some of you like him. I personally have a little affection for the guy. And what I want you to do after that is to draw around this name several lines spanning outward. Very simple. Boom, boom. No, it's backwards because cameras. And then I want you to write 6 words. They can be any words, but they have to do with your character. I'm not talking about superficial descriptions of their hair color, their eye color, no adjectives on how pretty they are, no bullshit like that. Do words that character resonates with, either to you or to that character, that the character themselves resonate with. So for instance, for Lysander, because he comes from, well, a rather complicated family, has noble blood, and a lot of his story takes place in memory. I'm going to jot down some words like grotto, just because he's wealthy and, well, actually his associations don't matter. Don't have to.
This also becomes a little bit of a vocabulary challenge as well, I found. Like, just to kind of challenge yourself to think beyond the generic things that come to mind, like city. It's like, okay, well, what's within a city? Like, I found this word association exercise to be really useful for that as well. But let's keep watching here, because again, I think when you watch this all come together, you'll see how it works and how it just activates a particular part of your brain on a creative level that will give you the story. It is like, again, for me, whenever I got writer's block, this is a foolproof method. It has never failed me once.
Explain your associations either. So I write down grotto, summer, stone, hornets, midnight.
See, I like the words he picks already, like hornets, midnight. Like, that's more deeper level of thinking, because this allows you to like discover your character on a level that just like, again, I'm no fucking pro, but like, it just makes you think deeper. Like, what would this mean to that character? And like, if you start to think of your character like a hornet, like, to me, those key words are what I grab onto, and it just helps so much. Anyway, sorry, he's getting to the point now.
Now, from that, you should be able to start making a web. Now, this web has more to do with your understanding of the character, or perhaps the character's memories, than anything tangible really in your story. Because to get over writer's block, it's not necessarily about having to decide which path to take, because there's multiple paths and you can't choose. It's not about being out of ammunition or being, out of a story to tell. You're not. It's not about being unenthusiastic about it, because that comes in fits and tantrums. It's about understanding your story. It's about understanding what you're trying to say. But more than that, it's about understanding your characters. Because when you understand your characters, you can understand where tension derives from. And tension is the root of storytelling. Every story out there is, the main character wants this, but then this happens. Obstacles are put in their way. The most amount of obstacles makes the best book usually.
Yep. Like, that's the thing that's missing in a lot of games. Everything is, conflict resolution is too fast. You can't resolve all the conflicts too quickly. Again, I'm not trying to talk like I know everything, but like, these are just the things that I've learned from like reading. You learn this by reading. You hear the author talk about it, and then you read their work, and it starts to click. You're like, you see the objects they're putting up. And the most important thing is to ground those obstacles in logic, of course. Chikorito says, dude has beautiful eyes. I agree. He does have beautiful eyes. One of the greatest books I've ever read in my life when finally writing an entire novel was The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Life-changing. I'll check that out. I love when people say a book is life-changing, because that always gets my interest, because I think of how I feel about flow. So that usually resonates with me. Let's keep going here.
But for this particular exercise, all you're really focusing on is backstory, feelings, tone, zest, the things that create the differentiation between your story and someone else's. So I have Blood, Grotto, Summer, Midnight, Hornets, and Stone for Lysander. Now there's two paths available to you. One, you continue building this web out, and you do 3 or 4 or 5 word associations that are then based on these word associations. And what you can create for that is memory. You can create almost a character within a character. So the idea, for instance, my ideal future, where I'd want to be when I'm 50, is something that I secretly guard, and it's a private dream you think of before you go to bed, right? So why doesn't your main character have that? Where does he want to be? So Summer, I would say, has a positive connotation with my character.
And that's what another thing that's missing in game writing is, like, you see how he talked about how he thought about his character. He was saying, like, I have these thoughts at night. I go to bed and I wonder where I'm going to be in 50 years, or where the world's going to be in 50 years. Why doesn't your character have that? What a lot of video game writing does is people literally self-insert. Like, they just put themselves in there, and they self-insert their writing and their thoughts into these characters, and it feels weird and forced, and like you're talking down to the player, or it's a little too on the nose, that sort of stuff. What he's saying here, though, is like, again, he's writing for like a Red Rising series. Okay, what is Lysander thinking about 50 years from now? Like, what does he want from this world? And when you look at it through their eyes with established lore, like, that shit is, it's just a golden, it's all about thoughts. This is why I say to people, it's not even about skill and talent. It's just about how you think, how you use your brain. It's so powerful. We're almost done, though.
So Summer, it would be flowers and bloom. Flowers, bloom.
I will not Uncharted Wolf.
Here's where it's important to have tension, to create contrast. Summer can't just have a positive association with this character because he's a tormented bastard. So, Summer, and then it'll be young love, tragedy. And right there, you have the source for a backstory for your character. So it says summer, flowers, bloom, young love, tragedy. While I don't necessarily want to construct a story for you right now because of that, now I have a pocket that I can return to that's part of Lysander's personality. Now, Grotto, did something happen in a grotto? Betrayal?
See how it works? You're literally watching in real time as the ideas came to him. And I think that's what's so cool about this. You literally see it working for him. He's like, betrayal happened in the grotto. Okay. Like, boom, write it down. Because all you need are your farm. You're literally, he'll use a term that I really like. I think he says like compost for the ideas, but you'll literally see he's just gathering like cool points. Like, it really can be that simple of like, that's cool, bro. Like, yeah, betrayal in the grotto. Okay. Well, like, we'll figure out what that is later, but like, okay, I like that. That's a part of their character. Let's keep watching.
Or was it love? Or perhaps there's contemplation. So when you have a physical descriptor like this, like grotto, what you're doing is creating a talisman for a character sometimes, or a touchstone. If something happened in this grotto, or if all grottos remind this character of this, or if there has been some positive or even negative association with a grotto in the past, then that character now has a story for grottos. And whenever you enter into a grotto in your story, or even, that's a lazy way of doing it, but the lazy way of doing it, you enter into a grotto and then the character has a flashback, which is the advantage of books over screenplays, because, well, screenplays are inherently kind of cheesy doing a flashback, but you can extrapolate as you go down. So basically extrapolate Lysander walking into a grotto. He had a betrayal in his past, or witnessed a betrayal of young love. Perhaps he witnessed someone spurn someone else, and then that comes back to haunt them. So what you're doing right now is you're basically creating compost for your story. And so what I want you to do is to continue going around your original circle of 5 or 6 words, and then create trees off those. And then decide if you want them to be memories, poetic, like internal vignette, which goes to, say, your character's overall aspirations, their kind of, for lack of a better word, their id. And then you can go something physical that could happen, or something they like or dislike. Now, I don't prefer like or dislike because, there's a lot of those BS printouts online of like, what is your character's favorite food and all those kind of things. And I don't really think that brings tension to a story, nor do I think it really matters what the favorite food of a character is, because I'm not.
It's so funny because this is like Fallout 4. Like, so-and-so disliked that, so-and-so liked that. Like, it is very much black and white. And you can see, like, people critique Fallout 4's writing because the thought philosophy behind its morality system is very much black and white. So it's just so funny to see, like, him bring this up, and you can start to connect the dots to other things you've experienced as well here. But again, he says compost for ideas. And, like, that is, you'll see he's going to write a poem out of all of this. And this is where it comes together, and I'll spare everyone the rest of the video.
Even sure what my favorite food is, and I've been.
And by spare, I mean I know a lot of you are here to talk gaming, but again, I found this deeply fascinating, and it would help you understand some of your favorite games too.
I've been for 32 years, so I'd say it's fairly unimportant in terms of providing fodder for your character, because this is what all we're doing is we're creating fodder, this compost heap, so that you can use it for your character and for your story. So, for instance, another method I use is once I have all these original 6 words, is I compile a tonal poem. And so for this one, with my 6 words of blood, grotto, summer, midnight, hornets, and stone, I created a poem which serves as a totem, or the touchstone, as I talked about, for understanding the character, for understanding their tone, that when they tell a story, be it melancholy, be it fearful, be it aggressive towards the world, be it nihilistic. And Lysander's is somewhat of a melancholy view of the past. And that defines him more than his future. So I created a poem for him which tonally makes sense. And it says, down in the midnight grotto, where in summer hornets roam, there is the dripping sound of blood against stone. Now, that's gobbledygook. It means nothing.
Subtle flex there. That was a fucking great poem. And he's just like, it's gobbly. It's nothing. It's nothing. But like, you can see, that's the process there, right? And if it's a word association exercise that if you do that for all of your characters or whatever you're trying to write on, if you're stuck, this is a golden solution. That's a video. Again, it's on, I'll show you guys the channel, Creative Distancing, Pierce Brown on how to get over writer's block. Anytime you need to return to this one. An absolutely excellent video. Like some of the most invaluable 10 minutes I spent, like when I first saw that, I was really stuck, and I just ripped through a bunch of characters doing that. And it just unlocked my brain. I just had so much to work with. And that's what writer's block ultimately is. Like, you're just trying to find what helps you work over this obstacle in front of you, whether it be like, this character's run out of things to do. Usually that happens if you haven't thought them out enough, right? If you know their past and what they want. What's their goal? That's usually enough to get you over any writer's block. But this helps you like flesh them out. What's their personality? Because what a lot of storytelling is how characters react. So, yeah, man, like I just find Pierce Brown to be an excellent writer. Obviously, Brandon Sanderson has a very active YouTube channel. I like his writing, but he's more of he gives good advice for writing, I think, from a book point of view. Not that his writing advice is not helpful in general, but as someone who's read some Sanderson stuff, like Brandon Sanderson's very wordy writer. He's an excellent environmental describer. Like he takes a lot of time for you to, what room you're standing in. Pierce Brown is more character driven, more action, and he writes action exceptionally well. He's a very visceral writer. And so I like Pierce's writing style more because I think it translates to games a little bit better because it is very applicable in that space. Whereas, again, Sanderson's more about the kind of capturing the brain of the reader from, again, a book's perspective. And I know that Pierce, again, is like, he's only written books, but again, the way he works with his characters and stuff, it just feels very game oriented. Sanderson is a gamer. Sanderson, I think, specifically talked about how much he likes Dragon Age Origins. And if you've read Way of Kings, yeah, there's so many moments in that book. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely a fan. But just, yeah, like both excellent writers, both great places to go for advice. But there's honestly very little Pierce Brown content online. I want to finish reading Red Rising before I dive into more because I'm sure, I'll get spoiled. But I'm sure he's got more gems to drop. But that to me is some of the most helpful stuff. What does what mean, Darth Monkey? Are you talking about what part does what? Like, what did I not explain? Words of Radiance had me excited. I think I got like 400 pages deep into that one. That's when I stopped. I burnt out. It was my fault. I like overread on Way of Kings, and then I was just bleh. It's funny. I feel so drawn to games and film as a creative medium, but I wouldn't say it inspires what I write personally. Interesting. I always found what was very useful for me is like going to the opposite corner of whatever you're doing. Like if you're writing a sci-fi game, go watch some mobster movies. Or if you're writing a fantasy game, like go watch or read or play some sci-fi stuff and like see how those worlds are explored, and then you think of how applicable that kind of compost for ideas could be for a fantasy world. And how could you like make a fantasy world feel sci-fi, for example? It's like an interesting thought exercise. I've always found it useful to just stay away from the things that directly inspire projects I work on, because usually you're doing that because usually they're the inspiration because you really like that thing, right? So like I'm obviously a huge KOTOR head. There's a reason I haven't played KOTOR in the last 5 years. It's because it is the image in my head of pure perfection. And it's very easy to like, when you're thinking of what's perfect and you want something that resonates with someone on that level, you want to look at that and kind of bring that in. And I don't mean imitate or copy, but you run your head through checking that story too many times, and it ends up becoming a massive blocker. Unless you want to write a story that is literally like derivative of, it's a clone, like it's a KOTOR story clone, then you're giving, by default, you're giving the audience something they've seen before. So I like to stay away from core inspirations or things I really love, because for me, like, again, I just know I love it so much. And it's like, I will get in my own head on like, this is terrible because it's not like my favorite thing of all time. It's like, I want to give people that feeling. So that's how I think about approaching creative stuff. I mean, when you said writing a game versus writing a novel. Okay, if I didn't make it clear, because I did get like tongue-tied. When I say writing for a novel versus writing for a game, I mean, a novel rides a lot on your imagination as well, but it's also on the author's penmanship to be able to create that image in your head. In fact, it's the toughest form of writing. Gaming or even movies have a visual that they can lean on. Like there's something in front of you. Whether it be something as simple as like a PNG from a visual novel, that's still something that's telling you, like, they don't have to write a character's outfit and describe it to you so you know what that character in the story looks like. Their bronze skin, their flowing long black hair. That doesn't need to be described. You just see the character and you get to the next point. That's my point. The writing, you don't have to describe the gilded pillars and otherwise large palace or whatever the hell it is. You don't have to describe that. You see that. You experience that. So it's about what the characters are doing and saying. Hopefully that makes more sense to you, Darth. What a fantastic stream we've had today, Matty. Greatly appreciate this. And we even helped Dave out with the right Fallout and where to play it. Indeed. Dave's on to the best moments of his life. Hell yeah. It's good for D&D. Yeah, it could be something as simple as D&D too. And when I say simple, I don't mean like in a bad way, but like it could be something for fun as well. If you're trying to write a D&D campaign, this stuff is applicable to you as well. Oh, Dave's still here. What's going on, Dave? Good to see you, bro. I love using mental health as a cipher for horror comedy. I know I just said I wasn't particularly inspired, but one of my favorite films is Eternal Sunshine. And sometimes that inspiration is like subconscious. Sometimes you don't even like realize like what actually, like I won't say what because I don't want people to know, but like there are things that I learned really resonate with me long term. That didn't process until I started like writing more. And I realized I'm like, that was actually exceptionally well done because like they did something that I can't do right now. How did they do that? And you study it and you realize how they did that thing. And you're like, interesting. So that's how they set up that scene, or that's how they shot that scene. This is especially a big one that you learn from movies. Like sometimes the angle of the camera can create tension. A great example of this is like Promised Neverland, I think. Let me see if I can bring you guys an example of that. Yeah, here. This here is from WordPress. And do they have the specific image? They kind of do. Okay. So this is on WordPress. And they talk about the camera of Promised Neverland. This is something I noticed, that anime is shot in a particularly like different way where it's not like there aren't unique shots or angles usually. I think like one example you'd see in a recent thing is JJK's, or is it JJK? No, Chainsaw Man. Sorry, Chainsaw Man's opening has a bunch of references to movies and the way they're shot and whatnot for their opening. But Promised Neverland, at least season 1, I'm not talking about season 2, but Promised Neverland season 1 has shots that are more in line, like this describes as possible for film camera. And it created a distinct level of suspense that always resonated with me. And you can see in some of the images, like, again, the establishing shots, the angles of which you see characters from. My favorite was the library and how you see people hiding. And there's a point here where characters are talking, and you can see in this image here that there's a bookshelf here where my cursor is. And what's important about that is the camera was going left and right. And what they were basically doing was making it look like someone was watching them. And this created suspense because what was happening in the scene is I remember this is Ray, Emma. Oh, the names are here. Emma, Norman. There we go. That's his name. And Ray are all talking, and they're trying to figure out something that's happening here. And it's like a secret conversation, and they're in the library. But the way it's shot teaches you so much. So those are things where, like, even though Promised Neverland season 2 like isn't great, this show taught me a lot about how like the way you shoot things. I think this is also a scene here where like the way you shoot things and the angle you use and like the depth of the camera can add so much to your creation. Or lack of lighting. That's another one. This is scary as well. I think this is under the bed, I want to say, or like peeking through a window and getting spotted. Like, this is just from the first 3 episodes. Promised Neverland is shot really well. And I mean, there are tons of movies that are also shot exceptionally well. Like, of course, Pulp Fiction is known for like a bunch of one-shots. You know, gaming has tried one-shots before. We've seen gaming and film bleed together like that before. But framing and sort of establishing shots and that sort of stuff, it's so important. That stuff can also really help your story. So that's what I was getting to earlier, is like, just sometimes you'll learn through writing, like, and when you're, in my case, like I'm writing, but also directing a scene, that I'm realizing that these things that, like, Promised Neverland was always the first season inspirational to me, but like realizing like what made it special, your brain starts to unpack that. You're like, it's the way it was shot. It was the way it was written. It was the plot, but those weren't the key things. It was the way it was shot which created attention, which made me feel like they were being spied on or watched, or the creator was telling me something that only me, the viewer, could get. So I think that's the other thing that's missing in today's movies and games. You just have too much detail. You see too much. Again, I think of like, I can't bring up shots because I don't want to get spoiled, but like, because I'm not done with it yet. But like The Sopranos relies heavily on you not seeing a lot, like characters sitting in the shadows completely. I love that shit. I love it. So yeah, welcome to my writer's workshop, I guess. Yeah, this has been fun. This has been really fun. Kojima games, yeah, I'm glad someone brought up MGS5. Kojima games do in general have usually pretty great camera work because obviously we know Kojima loves movies. Writing games always has to balance player agency and freedom within the story. That's the other tough part about, I know Darth was writing about like, what's the difference between writing a book or a novel or a game. The other thing you have to consider with a book, the reader can only go to the next line. With a movie, the reader can only sit in their chair and watch the next scene unfold. With a game, I can stand right in place. I can walk to another room. I can ignore what you're doing outright. So the challenging part with a game is how do you maintain the suspension enough to get the player to just go to that next objective, get that next quest done, like they can't help themselves? Or how do you provide them an objective logical enough that they can delay their engagement with it, where it's not fighting with the game, where there's not this ludonarrative dissonance, where if they fuck off for 10 minutes, that it's not like, well, someone's dying and bleeding on the ground, like you have to go do that. And then if you control them too much, how do you also stay out of the way of like keeping them too on rails? It's a balancing act. That's where like pacing is so important. And that's why the mini arcs of beginning, middle, and end work very well. But it's not easy, dude. Like they're all different and difficult in their own ways, no doubt about it. Like, I don't know if I could write a good creative book. I feel confident that I could learn to and execute on writing a great story with a team. But a book, like that's a whole other level of challenge that I would want to work up to. Anyway, I am starving. It's 7 o'clock. We've been streaming for over 3 hours now. See, the topics don't even matter. We've been here for 3 hours. We only had 2 news topics to go over, but this has been an absolute blast. Thank you guys for sitting down, just talking some writing with me. Obviously, as you know, I'm very passionate about that stuff, but thanks for being here for the Xbox story, for the Fallout 3 story, and thanks for just hanging out all around. This has been a total blast, just getting to talk with you all about some storytelling and whatnot, but we'll be back Friday. Yeah, we'll be back Friday, and then I think the following week, we'll probably do a bonus stream. Hold on. Let's see if this times out perfectly. Interesting. Crimson Desert comes out on a Friday. Okay, so we actually might just delay our new stream or do an extra one. We'll probably do 3 streams next week because I want to stream Crimson Desert when it comes out. But anyway, we'll have a lot more lives. We'll be live later next week. But anyway, appreciate you all being here. I'm going to go get some grub. Take good care of yourselves. We'll have a video out tomorrow. But until then, be well. Love you all. Mwah. Peace out.